What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another stream. Today is it's a Monday, and it's the last stream until Blazer basketball. I can't believe that I'm actually saying that. But yeah, it's the last stream until we get some sort of Blazers basketball. Now, it's not going to be a real game or anything, but the Blazers do play a scrimmage on Thursday. I forget what time that's at. I should have looked that up so I could have gone through this intro more smoothly with it. But it's around the middle of the day. Three. I thought it might have been 1:30. I don't know. It sucks with these game times. It's hard to keep track of. Whereas before, it's like, oh, it's a home game. It's at 7. It was automatic. So it'll be midday. We will recap that scrimmage Thursday night. So I'm really looking forward to that Thursday night stream because it'll kind of be like a post-game stream. It's obviously going to be live a few hours after the game, but we will recap that scrimmage. I am looking forward to just watching the Blazers play because
it's 3:30 Eastern.
3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific Standard Time for you guys, and we will go live around 9:45, 10 p.m. on Thursday night. That is the plan. The middays, I just didn't want to do post-game streams for the scrimmages that were in the middle of the day, considering Eric works in the middle of the day, considering I work in the middle of the day. So it was easier to just do it with our normal stream time, which will be Thursday night. So that is what we have on tap. We got Blazer basketball this week, 3 more days until we get to watch the Blazers play. And, it's just a scrimmage, and it's not even like going to be a preseason type of game because it's a scrimmage in an empty gym. You know what I mean? I feel like it's closer to a practice scrimmage,
Yeah.
These baseball scrimmages going on right now, it's just like no fans there. It's not even like, doesn't even feel like preseason level. It's just scrimmaging, so it's not even on that level. But still, I've been very excited each day to watch some of the footage that the Portland Trail Blazers are putting out there on social media. There was a clip today, a series of highlights where you had I think it was Whiteside hitting a 3, and then down the other side of the court Collins hit a 3. And then, the clip after that was Nurkic hitting a 3, so I thought that was cool. It's just, all 3 of our big guys just hitting threes. You probably don't want Whiteside shooting them, and it's still questionable with Nurk, but, it was just kind of cool to see that. You had Nassir Little. I don't know if you saw that clip today, Eric. You had Nassir Little pulling out a C.J. McCollum type of move on C.J. McCollum himself.
You didn't see my tweet?
Oh, that I saw it off your tweet. Yeah, what am I talking about? I saw it off your tweet. Hitting him with the little left
with the CJ
left to right crossover, step back between the legs. Very, very solid move. I love seeing that out of Nas, and we'll talk a little bit about him because there was an article that came out today on The Athletic from Jason Quick, which went over some advice that Damian Lillard gave to Nassir Little, and it talked about how much Nassir has been working on his jumper. And we know Nassir worked a ton on his jumper this year just from the form improvement he made in the middle of the season. Apparently during this whole hiatus, he's been shooting more than anybody on the team. So I'm excited to watch him play. We'll go more in depth on some of the things that I can hope to see out of him in these scrimmages and hopefully the games, because we're still not entirely sure if he's going to play. I'll be mad if he doesn't play. He should play, but we've had that discussion. We can touch a little bit more on that. But first off, I'm going to start doing these with these streams. I want to know how you guys did today. How was your day? What'd you guys do? You do anything fun? You have anything eventful happen? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. We'll talk about it a little bit as we get into the stream.
While you're doing that, let's say hi to everyone that's in here. What's up, Hamza, Malcolm, Leo, Trevin, Mike, Ben C. Darling, Alvaro, Javier,
Alex.
Kyle Wilson, Alex Wolf, Zacho. What's up, guys?
I like leaving you as the one to say what's up and try and name drop everybody, because if you miss a name, that person's going to be upset and feel left out. Sorry. And then their heat is going to be directed at you instead of me. So keep shouting them out for me so that I don't have to deal with the heat for forgetting
I don't
someone.
think I missed anyone from chat except for Scalabrini. What's up, man?
Yeah, you did solid. Brian Scalabrini is working. Aren't you 16, bro? You're getting paid on Friday? You're talking about your allowance?
Maybe he's babysitting or something.
Yeah, that'd be kind of scary.
If anyone's in here not chatting, you can feel free to say hi.
Yeah. Will defense is underrated. Yeah, I'll talk about him. We'll talk about him in a sec because definitely the most exciting player I think going into these scrimmages to watch, just because of how hard they've been talking about him working, and he's just fun to watch. You know, he's going to play hard even in a scrimmage setting. Therefore, I think he's kind of the most exciting guy. I mean, you got Nurk too. Nurk's return. Dang, you got coronavirus, man.
I don't know.
You should be wearing a mask right now. But
Corey, don't touch the fan, please. Sorry. What's up, CB?
What's up, man? What's in the cup?
It's just water. Unfortunately.
My cup or his cup?
Should put something stronger in there.
Oh yeah, drunk stream. We gonna celebrate the return of basketball by getting hammered and getting ourselves kicked off of YouTube because we're too drunk. You're allowed.
I would make that much of an ass of myself.
Yeah, I haven't been drunk in a long time, so I don't know. I definitely would not go full out. You know, I'd get tipsy for a stream, but I would not go. I would not get drunk. That would be probably something that would not be a good idea. It's kind of tempting. Just to, because I have fun when I'm drunk, man. But
if the Blazers win the championship.
Oh yeah, that post game stream would be the most insane post game stream in the history of anything. Like, that would be the most legendary post game stream in the history of YouTube, in the history of TV, in the history of anything. Because yeah, I don't even know. What if the Blazers want to chip? See, like, I'd want to be downtown though, like tearing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
maybe not right now, but
not right now. See, that's why if they won it this year, it'd be perfect because everybody's going to be quarantined anyway. So, you know, they win it this year, we'll do that legendary post-game stream. And then if they win it next year, then I can, or the year after, whenever the hell everything's fixed, then I can experience the whole downtown riot scene. And instead of, you know, the normal riots that happen in Portland, it could be a celebratory one, which would be fun, man, because, dude, it seems so much fun to be in a city after it wins a championship. Like, could only imagine having that in Portland, in my backyard.
We should have had a parade after Summer League championship.
Oh, 1,000%, bro. Just as like a meme, but fans. I feel like fans would have showed up just for the meme. You know what I mean? Have it on the weekend. Yeah.
Like, everyone just be super serious, like we really did celebrate it. Like, it was the most amazing thing ever. Like, the rest of the world's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. You know that, like, there would be the OKC fans on Twitter saying, well, these guys are such losers, man. They have to, like, celebrate a Summer League championship because they're never going to win a real one, even though we've won a real one before and OKC hasn't won shit. Like, they had 3 MVPs, didn't win anything. But you know, if we did it as, like, a joke, as a meme, people would be like, wow, look at them. They care that much about Summer League.
I'm holding Kyle Wilson to this. He says, I'm as anti-riot as it gets, but I'll go freaking streaking through Macy's if Portland wins the title. So he's got to do that now if they do.
Oh, yeah. Film it, blur it out. We'll play it on stream. I'll have to make sure the blur is good enough.
Yeah, we'll be down there, and he'll just run by us and be like, hey, what's up, Kyle? Give him a high five.
OKC wouldn't have cared about us that much back then. True. They are like a scorned ex that, like, you know, you damage them emotionally so bad that they're just kind of now you're just always in their head. You know what I mean? Like, that Dame shot will always live in their head, and it will always, it's just anything related to the Blazers will give them those bad emotions that they got from that shot because it was so traumatic for them. Will always be in their heads.
I'm sorry, but I've had OKC fans tell me that didn't end their franchise, it ended ours.
It ended ours. It doesn't even make sense, man.
Such a stretch, yeah.
I mean, we could go in on OKC for a second because the whole narrative of them having such a bright future, I think, is so overblown. Like, it's like they might have a bright future, but it's not a guarantee, man, because right now they have
their only kind of star for, if we're talking about the future, is Shai Shy will be solid. I don't know if he'll ever be like all-star good, but he'll definitely be a quality guard in this league. But other than that, there's no one else on that team that you could say is a for sure star. Like I'm talking about in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got no like blue chip. I mean, Shy maybe, as you said, could be an all-star, but I don't ever see him being a top 10 player. I think at his peak,
No.
I think at his peak, he will be a borderline top 20 player. I don't know what's going on over there. I'm away. I like your hat. Tell her I like her hat.
He likes your hat.
Schroeder can be a top 15 player. What are you talking about, Arvaro? What? That is not something I expected to see in the chat.
And he's only got 1 more year on contract. I don't know if he'll be around that.
The hair isn't looking that bad. I thought, from what you said last stream, I thought it was going to be worse.
Well, she got it professionally cut.
Professionally, gotcha.
And it got kind of layered, but yeah.
Nice.
I told them all that you cut your hair. Yeah.
Is that why she rocking the hat?
She just likes putting on the hat for a minute. She won't keep it on. Now she's just admiring herself. Yeah, Beasley's a good player too, but he's not gonna. I don't know.
That thing could like cover her whole entire head.
Yeah. It's a little big, huh? You playing peekaboo?
And getting him started early in the YouTube game, Eric.
She watches all these videos of like girls her age just playing with toys and stuff, and they're worth millions of dollars. So maybe. What are you doing?
She playing peekaboo, but like right, way too fast.
You're too good.
This is top-notch content.
I agree with Alex. They should have traded Gallinari.
Sorry, I'm
But
texting.
I have a feeling they're going to try to re-sign Gallinari and like keep the team together, and then not trade Chris Paul, and that's going to be a big mistake because next year we'll be healthy. Some other teams will be better, and I don't know if they're gonna. They'd either be like fringe playoff team or not in the playoffs. I think with that roster as it ages, if they try to keep it together.
Yeah, I mean, I got a rant for OKC in a second. I'm revving up to just rant about OKC.
All right, say bye.
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 All right. All right. Love you.
So, OKC, man, I am so tired of the narrative that they're like guaranteed to have some phenomenal future just because they got picks and like assets. Like, oh, they're so good now with all these future picks, right? Let's look at their team right now. They got Gallinari, who's a free agent who could very well leave. If not, they re-sign him for probably an oversized contract that would then be hard to trade and hard to get value for. You know what I mean?
Keeps them fringe playoff team, but not good enough to.
Yeah, he's not really
contend.
like an asset that they can flip for the future. Like they might be able to figure something out, maybe a sign and trade happens, I never ruled that out, but it's going to be hard to flip him for like legitimate future assets. Same thing for Chris Paul, because OKC fans keep talking about how good Chris Paul has been and how they'll be able to get some amazing trade package for him. The situation with Chris Paul is still stands. Like, he is a aging point guard, right? He kind of bounced back a bit this year, but even with how good he played, he's still a guy that a lot of teams are not going to be interested in, either because they, one, have a better point guard than a Chris Paul, Two, aren't really trying to win, so have no need for Chris Paul, especially to give up future assets for. Why would a rebuilding team give up future assets for Chris Paul? Doesn't make sense. Or three, maybe they want him. Maybe a team is trying to win, and Chris Paul would be an upgrade at point guard, but there's a good chance that team wouldn't have the contracts that they'd be willing to trade in order to match Chris Paul, because Chris Paul's making over $40 million a year. You'd have to trade out like $34 million in order to match Chris Paul's salary and bring him in. So, some teams might have the contracts to match, but those players, they might not want to trade for Chris Paul, right? So you end up in a situation where there's maybe one or two teams that might make a move for Chris Paul. I think the only obvious one is Miami. I don't know if any other teams come to your mind.
I mean, there could be a stupid team like the Knicks, like someone mentioned in chat. But
you could have a stupid team. This is just assuming that all teams are logical. Like, the only team that I could see being a contending team that could use an upgrade at point guard that might have the contracts to match for Chris Paul is Miami. But the thing is, Miami barely has any future picks, and you can't trade picks in back-to-back years, so it's going to be hard for OKC to even get picks out of Miami.
I don't know, because didn't they trade away a lot of their contracts for next year? So you've got Crowder's a free agent. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't see OKC wanting Iguodala for Chris Paul. So I don't know if they have a lot of other big contracts other than Jimmy Butler, do they?
You got... Yeah,
we got Olenek is at like 13 mil or something.
Yeah, and I assume he's going to opt in. So it'd have to be like Iggy, Olenek, and maybe like you throw on Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson or something, But that's like the best package I could see OKC getting. And honestly, it's like if you get Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson is never going to be more than just a role player, like a shooter, a Joe Harris type of player. Like, okay, cool, nothing special, right? Tyler Hero, I don't think he's ever going to be any more than maybe like a solid starter at best. Like, he's never going to be an all-star in my opinion. I don't think he's ever even going to be a fringe all-star. He might be a solid starter, but like, okay, cool, right? Solid starters. You doing some research? You looking something up? Because that kind of goes into like my main point.
So
I'll let you go.
The only Iguodala, Olenek, and Jimmy Butler are the only three players over 3.8 million that they have on their roster next year. Or Bam's at 5.1. Sorry, it was just lower.
Yeah.
So Bam's at 5.1. Olenek, if he opts in, 13.1, and Iguodala's at 15, and then they got Butler at 30, almost 35. So they'd have to trade Iguodala, Olenek, and then two or three young people. I just don't see them doing that for Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, that also Chris Paul still has a couple years left on his contract, right?
Yeah.
Two years after this
and
one,
Miami
I think.
is a team that's wanted to preserve cap space.
Yeah, so they would be stuck not having a chance at Giannis then the following summer just to get Chris Paul. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, and that's like the one team that can come to mind. I can't think of another team that would go after Chris Paul. But if Miami was able to make a trade for Chris Paul, they're probably not going to be able to trade any future picks. I mean, Miami couldn't get a trade done with, like, Gallinari, which they were trying to work out, but that didn't even happen in the trade deadline. And that was something both teams wanted to do. I forget why exactly that didn't happen. But you just have...
If you remember back to the trade deadline stream when we thought for a minute they were getting both of them, and we're like, with what assets? Or with that, like, who are you trading? And like Miami is like, we can get both of them without trading our core. And like, I thought Memphis is kind of dumb to take on as much salary as they did in that trade, but they really didn't have any other assets that OKC would be looking for Gallinari, let alone for Chris Paul.
Yeah. Yeah. So tying this back into kind of just my overall point, like, even if they somehow got a trade done for Chris Paul, I have a hard time seeing them getting any assets that are going to turn into future All-Stars, right? For Gallinari, for Chris Paul, it's going to be hard for OKC to get a future All-Star. The only way they could get a future All-Star is if they get a guy who's not likely to become a future All-Star that just blows up, like Tyler Herro all of a sudden becomes a 23-point per game guy, which I think is very, very unlikely, but, you never rule it out with young players. Look at, what happened with Pascal Siakam. Look at what happened with Chris Middleton. You know what I mean? But regardless, for those two guys, it's going to be hard for them to get assets that are close to likely to becoming All-Stars, right? Right now, they have one guy who his ceiling might be a fringe all-star. OKC fans think he's going to be like a top 5 player someday. They overrate the hell out of him. Shai is I think his ceiling is a future all-star, or a future fringe all-star. Maybe a future all-star, maybe a solid guy, like a 23-4 guy, but that's not a top 10 player. He's not going to be a top 10 player, right? And he's like their only piece, their only asset right now that I can see with legitimate all-star potential. You know what I mean? All their future picks they have from a bunch of other teams are from teams that are likely going to be winning during those years, and those picks are likely going to be in the late first. Some of them might end up being in the early first. You never know what happens. I just looking at their picks, I'm not impressed by a lot of them.
Well, the thing is, that's what being good this year when they were supposed to not be in the playoffs or be in the lottery is that kind of is going to set them back, because that was the one pick you could say, okay, we're kind of tanking this year, but we have all these picks to help us in the future. But this was supposed to add to their collection. And I mean, they still could get lucky. I mean, you never know in the draft. It doesn't really matter where you're picking. You can always find someone. But yeah, it's going to be tough to make that next step.
Yeah. Yeah, so this kind of just, my whole point with them is, even if some of those picks ended up being high, how many teams have we seen that has had consistently high picks that they used on guys that didn't become all-stars? You look at Minnesota. You look at Sacramento. And obviously those teams didn't draft well. Other teams that drafted well got future All-Stars. But you look at the way Minnesota was talked about for years. Oh, they got Karl-Anthony Towns and they got Andrew Wiggins. Both guys are going to be future superstars, and they have all these high picks that they're still going to get because they're still not good yet. They're a future. Their future is so bright, right?
I think at one point they had 3 first-round picks in a row.
Yeah.
One of them was Anthony Bennett, but still they had.
Yeah. Anthony Bennett he got traded there a year after when everybody kind of knew he sucked.
No, but I mean, on their roster at one time, they had those 3 guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly my point. Everybody talked about how bright Minnesota's future was, and it was a sure thing that they were going to end up in becoming something. And look at Minnesota. They're not playing right now because they're not even a top 22 team. And we're 5 years into Karl-Anthony Towns' career. We're 6-7 years into Andrew Wiggins' career. I forget how long it's been. But, those guys, that team it doesn't have a bright future anymore. They drafted Jarrett Culver last year with the 6th pick. He kind of struggled as a rookie. They gave up value in that Jimmy Butler trade, and that backfired. They got the 8th seed and lost in the first round, and then they're right back to the lottery. And that's kind of my whole point with OKC. It's the only chance I think that they'll have to get a top 15 player is for one of those picks to end up high, which isn't a guarantee. And even if one of those future picks that they do have ends up high, it's not a guarantee that you'll not land a bust. You might get the next Nick Stauskas or Ben McLemore.
Alex Wolf mentioned Phoenix. They're another one of those teams that's constantly drafting high and never really doing much.
So the whole thing about OKC having such a bright future, Dame just made OKC's future so automatically bright, and they're going to be a contender for sure in 5 years. All that type of stuff. It's it's ridiculous. OKC fans haven't dealt with missing on top picks, right? They hit on Harden, they hit on Westbrook, they hit on Durant, obviously, which Durant was before OKC's time even. But they don't know. They think it's a given that if you have a top 7-8 pick that you're going to get a great player. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these OKC fans don't have experience with dealing with a losing team year in, year out. Their team's pretty much always been good. So that's the thing, man. Like, it's just funny hearing OKC fans talk because it's just like they don't have the full experience, you know?
The only thing I'll say, like playing devil's advocate, is having all those picks does make it easier to make trades or maneuver around draft boards sometimes. So, like, if you play it smart, you can still come up with some. But the way you're talking about,
my point to that is like, and let me just make a quick point on that. You look at the Blazers when they had the 15th, 20th, and 26th picks. They weren't able to trade those for anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they had all their future picks that they could have attached onto that. So it's like, that's the thing. Mid first round picks don't have a ton of trade value on like a draft night. I don't know.
But in that draft, you could have gotten someone like a Donovan Mitchell or a Bam Adebayo, and then you could have. Those guys both went 13, 14. So like, it is possible to still get those kind of guys. But
they could definitely hit. But my whole point is like, it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot.
To your point, it's a lot harder to get a star player that'll help you take that next step, because you see it. I was arguing with like Phoenix fans the other day because someone on Twitter posted something like, "You're named GM of the Phoenix Suns today. What do you do?" And I said I would trade everybody, basically. And I prefaced that by saying, look, I know if you're a Phoenix fan, you're not going to like this. You've been rebuilding for 10 years. You're trying to make the playoffs. And I feel like they're building just to, like, they just want to be kind of good. They don't want to be like a title contender. I mean, everyone wants to win a championship. That's not what I'm saying. But like, I feel like their roster, the way they're constructing it, is like, let's just make the playoffs so we can tell our fans, oh, we finally made the playoffs after 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
And the wait's over. And like, I don't ever like building a team that way. I think you should either shoot for a championship or like just tear it down and do something different. And I don't think Booker is like the kind of guy who can be the main guy on a championship team. And I don't like Ayton as much as some people on Twitter seem to like him. But so I would trade both of those guys and just start over. But I knew that Phoenix Suns weren't going to have any of that, because they were like, man, we don't want to start over again. We don't want draft picks.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
I mean, and I don't. It's hard to even fault them because they're just so tired of this route.
Right.
But it's like they are getting good enough to the point where it's going to be hard to get a top 5 pick.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, but they're also not good enough to even make the playoffs. Like, they are getting themselves stuck in an area between like 6 and 14, which you don't really want to be in. And like the only way they're gonna like actually have a chance at even winning a first round series is if like Ayton and Booker reach their maximum potential, and then they make good moves to surround those guys with better talent. But even then, that's probably not going to be a contending team.
And see, that's what people kept saying to me, like, look at the difference in wins from last year to this year and all that stuff. And I'm saying, like, you can go out and sign a guy like Rubio who will help you win like 5 or 10 more games. You can trade for a guy like Oubre. And like I said, you get a roster where you're a fringe playoff team, maybe at best. But that's not going to help you. Like, getting to that point is easy. Like, anyone can take like I guarantee you most people could take like the New York Knicks, and if they wanted to just be the 8th seed in the East and that was their main goal, like that would be easy to do. The problem is they keep on doing stuff they keep on making mistakes, and they don't even get to that point. But I don't think that's necessarily the worst thing. But like getting from 19 to 32 wins or whatever they got this year, that difference is so much easier than going from like mid-30s wins to like a championship contending team. And to do that, you need to add like star players to your roster. And that's the type of thing that you will not do if you're stuck in that middle range where you're always picking like 10th to 15th. Like, it makes it a lot harder to do that.
Yeah. Phoenix could get a haul from Minnesota and Booker in a Booker trade. What haul could they get from Minnesota? Because like if Minnesota's trading for Booker, it's probably because they want to pair him with Towns and D'Angelo Russell, right?
Yeah.
But like
They
Minnesota
can't trade their
traded
pick next year.
their pick next year to Golden State in the D'Angelo Russell trade, so they can't trade a pick for a while. Other than that, like, none of their young talent is really super enticing for Devin Booker. So honestly, Minnesota and Phoenix are not a good trade match for a Devin Booker trade, just because Minnesota's gonna want to attach Booker to Russell and Towns, and other than Russell and Towns, they don't really have any legitimate assets. They have 2 picks this offseason. Yeah, they got their top pick, but this is a weak draft. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think
They might have Brooklyn's. If Brooklyn doesn't make the playoffs, they would lose it.
Yeah,
or
but like
it would convey.
Brooklyn's gonna make the playoffs though.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe.
they're gonna be pretty bad.
Yeah, but like Washington's gonna be pretty bad too. Washington doesn't have Beal
true.
or Bertans or God, that's disgusting. But either way, that's gonna be That's gonna be a pick between 10 and 14 most likely. Probably 13 or 14 or whatever. I don't know exactly, but
they could trade both of those picks after the draft, or like agree to the trade before the draft, but it doesn't take place till the new league year. Or they could, if they do get Brooklyn's pick, trade their higher pick. But I don't know.
That's not a good enough pick for Devin Booker. You know what I mean?
Well, if they got like a top 3 pick, but I don't know why Phoenix would do that. I mean, yeah,
I think you could get a better haul for Booker. I think you could get a phenomenal haul for Booker. There is a team out there that look at him thinking like, oh, this guy has a chance to be a top 10 player at some point. Like, Booker is still so young. There's still so much like hype around him. And what he's doing offensively is impressive. You know what I mean? Like, he's developed his playmaking, you know, like I guarantee you there's a team out there that's like, what if we could get him into like a winning culture, surround him with better talent? What could he be? Like, he could maybe be a James Harden-esque type player, you know, not in terms of play style, but maybe offensive production, just a guy who can maybe go get you 30 points per game in his prime and distribute at the same time. Like, there's going to be a team out there that's going to think that, and I feel like you can get better assets than a pick that would be used on, like, James Wiseman as well as Jarrett Culver, you know what I mean? Like, that's just not super impressive to me. If this was a good draft, then yeah, like if you could get a Ja Morant or a Zion or something like that, then, like, you know, yeah, but this year's draft is not impressive at the top like that.
Yeah, I'm starting to really like Anthony Edwards, but yeah, I can see that. So I was just looking up the numbers. So the best Minnesota could do is their higher pick this year, James Johnson, Jarrett Culver, and Josh Okogie. And then, like, they can't trade a pick till 2024 after that. So maybe like a 2024 unprotected pick or something. Like,
even then,
that doesn't seem
like,
super appealing.
Yeah, if you're going to trade Booker, I don't think you're going to want assets that far down the road. You know, you've already been rebuilding for so long. I think if you end up like trading everything away, you're trying to like make noise 3 to 5 years from now. You know, probably not 3 years from now, but maybe 4 to 5 years from now. That's when you're trying to make noise, not like finally get the asset you traded Booker for 4 years down the line, you know?
What about Golden State? They have Minnesota's pick next year, and they have probably a top 3 pick this year. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how
I don't see Golden State doing it. Well, you could
do Wiggins, I guess.
Wiggins.
And like 3 firsts.
Yeah, I mean,
Haskell or someone like that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be. Imagine Devin Booker with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. That would be so annoying, dude.
I could see that happening.
I honestly, I think Booker is slightly over it. Just like, dude can't play defense and put up stats on a bad team. Yeah. I don't know. Like, he's a really good player, obviously, you know. Like, shoot, I'd probably put him above CJ, you know. And he's still very young, so Booker's still going to get better. But, like, I'm not super high on Booker. But I would hate it if he went to Golden State, because his shooting and his offensive ability in that system, combined with Clay and Steph, would be so annoying. It would be so annoying. Like, oh God, I hate that you brought that up and put that into the universe, because now I'm thinking about it, and dude, like, because they share the ball, and all three of the way their system works, multiple players can get hot at the same time. It's not like Portland where you run a bunch of ISO, so if one player gets hot, they just isolate and go to work. You know, CJ McCollum in Game 7 of the Denver series, you know, that's kind of how Portland is. Like, usually one of Dame or CJ is hot. Usually it's not both, right? Golden State, they move the ball so much and play so fast and play so fluid, and that Clay and Steph can get hot at the same time. Throw Booker getting hot into that, and they could have 15 points in like 15 seconds. I don't even. Obviously, that's an exaggeration, but it would be so annoying when those guys just got hot.
Because even if you were on fire, you still would have trouble outscoring them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like, and the thing is, how do you stop all three of those guys? You know, you can't. And Clay can. Booker's like 6'6", Clay's 6'7", right? Clay can guard the best wing, and you can hide Booker on the worst one, you know? And then you got Draymond, their defensive presence in the front court. You know, who knows who their center would be, but it would likely be a rim protector. Like, they would be fine defensively. You know, like, I don't like Wiggins' fit because I don't think he helps their offense at all, and he's not a good defensive player compared to Booker, who, like, isn't a good defensive player, but offensively would just be freaking phenomenal with the way they run things.
Yeah, that's scary. See, I was thinking about like trades for him when I made that comment, so that's why I was talking about it.
God, that's scary, man. that would be the Golden State would be the team to do that too.
Yep.
I hope they just tie on Wiggins, man.
Yeah.
But Clay at the 3. I mean, you wouldn't even have to designate Booker as the 2 and Clay's the 3, or Clay's the 2 and Booker's the 3. You wouldn't have to designate it, because the way their offense works, like, a lot of it is like structured freelance. I don't really know how to explain it. It's like structured freelance. Like, depending on where certain players are on the floor, they run a lot of action without calling a play, without calling a set. It's just kind of however the floor is arranged, they know how to run good action off of that. That's why I love Steve Kerr as a coach, because it's like
they're always moving.
Yeah, you know, they're always moving. There's just guys that know how to move off the ball. Like, if you have Clay, Booker, and a big man over on one side of the court, they're going to run some sort of action, which makes it hard to guard. You know, the big's going to be the screener and then probably slip into the rim at some point. You're going to have one of Clay and Booker cutting. You're going to have one of them pop behind the arc, but they're going to do it in a way that makes it hard to tell, you know, which guy is popping. You know, like, the way they run their offense is just so well constructed. Like, and it's just, it's not a lot of it isn't set plays. And a lot of their set plays probably just have it where you know, whichever side of the ball this is how it works in high school. Like, in high school, we had 2 wings, which was like the shooting guard and the small forward. And we had sets, and basically whichever side the ball got passed to, we'd run the set, you know, based on the side it got passed to. So it didn't matter if it got passed to the one wing or the other wing, you know what I mean? It'd still be the same set. And the wings would just have, you know, depending on where the ball got passed, would have to do different things. So, honestly, like, there's a lot of situations where you don't even necessarily have to designate a 2 or a 3. I know a lot of fans get caught up on, who's the shooting guard, who's the small forward. In that situation, you have 2 guys who are the same size in a system that doesn't really have to designate a shooting guard and a small forward. Like, they would be interchangeable. You know what I mean? You wouldn't even have to designate a difference. In the Blazers offense, or in the Blazers structure, one of the reasons why you do is CJ is so undersized as a shooting guard, he's not going to be regularly guarding small forwards. That's why he's not like interchangeable with a 3, whereas Booker and Clay are both 6'6" and taller. So you could hypothetically they could guard either wing position just because they have the size, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Malcolm says, "Why do I feel like the Knicks would go after Booker?" Yeah,
Oh, they will. If Booker ever becomes available, they will 1,000% go after Booker.
See, I think Booker would have to demand a trade. I feel like Phoenix, like, I feel like they think like the fans did in that argument with me is like, oh no, we're on the come up. Like we're going to be a title contender in a few years. It was like Booker and Ayton aren't going to be the top two guys on a championship team. Get out of here with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if do you agree with that? Did you even hear what I said?
I blanked.
I said Booker and Ayton will never be the top two players on a championship team.
If they both reach their full ceiling, possibly if they have the right players around them. Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not going to say it's impossible. Because, I mean, like, Ayton I could see being... His rim protection improved this year. I could see him being like a 22 and 11 guy with good defense, if he continues to improve on that end. And then Booker in his prime could be like a guy getting 29 and 6, 29 and 7. Like, I don't know. But that's in the best case scenario. I don't think it's likely that they'll end up being good enough to be the best two players on a championship team. And honestly, I think it's very, very likely that Booker just ends up leaving after his contract is done.
So RIP Blazers is saying the same thing that the Phoenix fans were saying to me too. Oh, Dame and CJ are top two guys.
Dame is better than either Ayton or Booker will ever be. So,
and our second best player is Nurk anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. True. All right.
I mean, Dame and CJ got to the Western Conference Finals with.
Yeah, and Booker and Ayton can barely win 30
Dirk
games.
And yeah. And Booker and Ayton. I know they're a lot younger. I mean, Booker. It's weird. Booker's still only like 23, I think.
Do you see that 503 post about Dame and Nurkic together on the floor? No. We don't stay on 503 as hard as you, Trevin.
So he posted all the on-off stats, or the net offensive rating, for Dame when Dame and Nurk are on the floor last year, versus like other teams. But the thing is, it's kind of a disservice to list those stats when you compare, because like every other team, you're comparing it to their full game, right? So he's saying like if the Blazers had that defensive rating, they would have been 8th in the league or something this year. But like Dame and Nurk don't play the whole game together, but you're comparing it to teams that like the Bucks. He mentioned specifically. You're talking about the Bucks the whole game, not just when Giannis and Middleton are on the floor. Mm-hmm. So like, pick other duos and see how they compare, because I'm sure some other duos would be better than that. But it is still pretty impressive, the stats. But and we've known those stats. We just have been missing Nurk, and that's why we always get in arguments with people who don't understand the value of Nurk. But
yeah. But then you know what happens? You point out the value, then you have Blazer fans in here saying, "Well, see, that's why we sucked this year. He wasn't playing. That's the only reason why we sucked." Like,
oh no, but you're overvaluing him. Like,
yeah, it's kind of a tough like. Yes, he's very valuable, but no, he's not the only reason we sucked this year. Like, his injury is not the only reason we sucked this year, but yes, he's valuable. Like, people can't understand how both those things are possible, It's weird.
I still don't like that we're missing 3 starters because we traded for Whiteside specifically to replace Nurk, and yeah.
Okay, I'm reading the tweet because I just wanted to look it up because it did sound a little confusing.
Alex says Mario is the 4th best. Yeah, so like you can't just extrapolate 2 players as their rating together and then say, see, look, we would be 4th in offensive rating this year, but you're just saying Dame and Nurk on the floor together. What about the times when they're not on the floor? Like, because that's at least 18 minutes a game probably where Nurk probably is playing 30 minutes at most, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, so 18 minutes a game. The thing is, hypothetically, if I'm just trying to like think about this. Like the Bucks have a really good bench this year, right?
Yeah, but it's still not as good as when Giannis is on the floor.
Yeah, but like their bench is going to outscore the other team's bench at a pretty good clip too. But yeah, Giannis.
But we're just talking about net
Yeah,
rating and stuff like that, so it's not going to be as high as
I'm just
when there's
curious how
starters
it
on.
how it like compares. I'm just trying to think of it like how.
And Nurk, the season before that, played 27.4 minutes a game.
Yeah.
So that's almost 21 minutes a game where you wouldn't have Dame and CJ on the floor
Yeah.
together, at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why I just want the Blazers to get as good of a bench as possible going into next season. You know, I know you're not on board with using our traded player exception in the 14th pick or 15th pick or whatever we get for Bielitsa in the second. But that's why I'm on board with something like that. It's like, dang, you know, we've seen Dame and Nurkic, and I expect Nurkic to be better next year than he's ever been. You know, him back to normal. With CJ, you know, and who knows what, you know, we have Collins maybe hopefully stepping up. Like our starting lineup should be legitimately good, right? I want to see our bench be a top 5 bench. Like we've never seen a bench of that caliber with Damian Lillard. Do you know what I mean? We've never seen that. Like, I want to see what that looks like. Like, even if we sacrifice, you know, a guy that might end up being good for the future, I want to see us roll out there with a bench of something like, you know, Rodney Hood, Gary Trent Jr., Bielitsa, and Whiteside. That would be a top bench. That'd be a top bench. Do you hear anything I said?
Yeah, I heard everything.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to see like how good a Blazers team is with Dame, Nurkic, CJ. You know, everybody healthy, good starting lineup, but then a top bench to complement that.
See, I just don't think. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to have like 2 or 3 excellent bench pieces, but overall, I don't think the starters would ever be out. And I still think Stotts would play the starters the majority of the minutes. So we're talking about Bielitsa playing like 16 to 18 minutes a
Oh,
game.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, it's not like he didn't run Dame and CJ into the ground until this year. You know, before that, Dame was always under 36 minutes per game, right?
No.
Other than his rookie season. Yeah, he's around there, but he's like
He always runs Damian into the ground.
Because this year is kind of out of necessity. He did overplay him, but last year Dame had 35.5 minutes per game. The year before he had 36.6. The year before he had 35.9.
Yeah, you're right.
So like.
Funny you said beside the rookie year, but the rookie year is his most minutes per game.
38.6. That's crazy. But after his rookie year, until this year, he had a stretch of 6 seasons, and 5 of them he played under 36 minutes per game. This year he played 37 minutes per game, basically. You know, it's not that big of a difference, but the thing you could argue is like Stotts has never had a great bench, so that's why he's always played the starters a ton. You know what I mean? You saw in the playoffs last year he played Hood and Collins a ton when Aminu and Harkless were struggling. You know, he still should have played Hood and Collins more than he did. I thought he should have played them even more. You know, and something I'd point as an example as to why is look what happened to that 4 overtime game against the Nuggets where Harkless played the first 3.5 overtimes and he got cramped up. Stotts had to take him out and then Hood won us the game. But still, like with a guy like Collins, like I don't think Stotts would play him more than like if you had Collins and Bielitsa at the 4, I think Stotts would split him up pretty evenly. It's not like Collins is Dame level or CJ level or you know, and it's not like he ran Nurkic into the ground. Nurkic only played 27 minutes a game, so
it's too bad. See, if Nurk didn't get hurt last year, we would have had you would have had CJ back with the bench unit, and then you would have had Curry, Hood, Collins, and Cantor. That's your bench. That would have been a phenomenal bench.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you had like Leonard in case you needed like 3-point shooting. Um, yeah, like that.
Would that bench be
I think the
better?
bench was pretty underrated last year.
Would that bench be better than going into next year with Trent, Hood, Bielitsa, and Whiteside?
I think the one last year would be better.
I don't. I don't think so because Hood cancels out, right?
Well, maybe if he comes back 100%.
Curry, with the way we were using him, I don't see him being that much better than Trent.
He still shot like 45%.
Oh yeah, but like Trent's a better defender. And Trent, I think next year should be.
And Trevin's right. We played Evan Turner with that group too. So.
Yeah, which is gross, right? So like Curry, I'd take over. Well, look at it this way. Would you rather have Curry and Cantor, or
Trent and Whiteside?
Trent and Whiteside.
That's a tough one.
You guys answer that in chat. Would you rather have Curry and Cantor or Trent and Whiteside?
On the bench, I think I'd rather have Curry and Whiteside.
Wait, that wasn't the option. It was Curry and Cantor?
Curry and Cantor, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I 100% disagree, man. I would rather have Trent and Whiteside just because I think... I don't know.
I think Cantor played perfect in our system. I thought he played about as well as he is capable of playing.
Yeah, but still, like, the defensive gap between him and Whiteside is just so big, and Whiteside is still a good lob target. Whiteside will still provide you the rebounding, Cantor did. Maybe he doesn't help team rebounding as much, but...
I don't have faith that Whiteside will... Because Cantor accepted that role coming off the bench. It's still yet to be determined if Whiteside will pout about it or not.
I mean, the thing is, if he pouts about it, we can trade him and get a decent backup center somewhere. You know what I mean? Like mid-season, I feel like it's easy to get a decent backup center. There'll always be like a...
But we're not talking about trade value. We're talking about...
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, like, I'm not... Just looking at the bench next year, like, we're going to bring Whiteside back. In terms of evaluating how good it could be, I'm not going to think about like, oh, Whiteside might not like it, because in the case that he does, we'll probably end up making a move anyway and we'll replace his position. So in terms of like evaluating how good our bench could be next year, I'm just thinking like if Hassan buys in, which I do think there's a decent chance of. Like he's not, I think it's obvious right now that he's not going to be starting in Orlando, but he doesn't seem to be upset about it, just from what we can tell. Like he seems to be bought in. And
but I think that's because he's being told he's going to play some at the 4. So when that doesn't work out, I think it's going to be, we'll see. But so Joel said Whiteside would feast on bench units and Trent is essential when we give up so many threes. See, I think Curry is a really underrated defender too. He's a smart defender.
He is.
But the problem is we played him a lot, especially in crunch time, where it's Dame, CJ, and Curry on the floor, and then you're like at a severe disadvantage defensively. Whereas Trent's bigger, so like I can understand why he's projecting to be a better defender. But today, right now, I think Curry's better than Trent overall.
I just look at Trent and Whiteside compared to Curry and Cantor, and Trent and Whiteside, the defensive ability of those two is just noticeably higher than Curry and Cantor, and I don't think the offense is all that far off. So that's why I'd take Trent and Whiteside. And then when you compare the rest of those two benches,
it would have been interesting to sign if we would have signed Cantor this year. Like obviously not. I'm glad we got Hood instead, but like I wonder what would have happened this year with Cantor and as our starting center versus Whiteside.
Yeah,
would be interesting if you could like do that experiment somehow.
I mean, that Hood cancels him out. Hood cancels, because Hood, Hood and Hood cancels out, right? So then the other comparison to make is Collins in his second year versus Bielitsa going into next year. I would rather have Bielitsa going into next year than Collins in his second year. Now, Collins, like, obviously, with his development, like, probably next year I'd rather have Collins than Bielitsa, but if we're going to compare the benches, Collins was in his second year, right? And he still was kind of for the most part of the season, came on strong in the playoffs, right? But I would rather have Bjelica going into next year than Collins in his second year. It's close, but
See, on the Blazers roster, I'd give a slight edge to defensive players versus an offensive player.
But you didn't take Trent and Whiteside over Curry and Cantor.
I'm saying, but
that's so funny.
Cantor was fine on defense in our system, though. Like, he was. See, this is predicated on Stotts having to change the system because, hey, what's up, Zach? He's in here. Russell first round exit. Westbrook finally made a stream.
I'm jumping for joy because Westbrook is here.
But Cantor, in Stotts' drop defensive scheme, he was perfect for that because he's kind of a lazy defender. So he liked that. So he doesn't chase blocks and stuff. So I feel like his positioning was better than. So I'm not saying that he's a better defender than Whiteside, obviously, but like I just felt like in our system he was like a perfect match for that.
When the Thunder utilized Steven Adams ate in the first round last year, Steven Adams
got
ate,
benched,
man. Yeah, but like, whenever they fed him the ball, it was like every time he scored. Cantor against Jokic, Cantor definitely struggled. Our team defense was better on Jokic.
Well, he hurt his shoulder too. It was hard to.
Yeah, still though, like, I don't.
And also, Jokic had that dirty shot.
Yeah, but still. Still, like, the defensive ability. And I will say this.
Jokic abused Whiteside this year, too.
True. And granted, Cantor and Whiteside, if we're looking at off the bench, wouldn't have to guard Jokic. But I will say this. You're talking about defensive scheme. I mean, Stotts has said that he wants to run a different defensive scheme when he has three bigs. Who knows if he'd keep that up throughout a season. Like, I'm not going to count on it. But he did when he had Collins and Whiteside on opening night. The first couple games, they did run a different defensive scheme. So, and the thing is having, I'd rather have Whiteside in that scheme that they ran opening night than Cantor.
Yeah.
Because
it's an interesting question. Yeah. I can see both sides.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate, but I mean, yeah, Trent. I mean, both benches would be very, very good. Both benches would be very, very good. I will give it that. The thing is like Curry and Hood. That first year, Curry took a long time to get comfortable, and Hood took a long time to get comfortable. And then, like, by the time that Hood had gotten comfortable, Cantor wasn't coming off the bench anymore, because Nurkic has gotten hurt by that point once Hood got comfortable. So, we didn't really get to see that come to fruition like it possibly could have.
Also, Cantor's 3 years younger than Whiteside. I don't know if that matters, but Whiteside...
Not if we're talking about bench for next year. We're not talking
I know, but he's 31. He's going to start seeing a decline at some point in the next few years. But yeah, probably not next year. But
yeah, for a guy like Whiteside, it's tough because he's not a guy that's like whose athleticism is what. I mean, maybe, I don't know, he is decently athletic, but it's just like he's so long, you know what I mean? That should be able to get the job done for what he does. Like, that should be able to get the job done. A lot of his impact doesn't come off of being athletic or something like that. Like, a guy like a JaVale McGee, I'd expect to decline harder than a guy like a Hassan Whiteside. Like, a guy like a Dwight Howard who... actually kind of bounce back, like an athleticism-based big like that, I'd expect to decline harder.
And going back to your OKC point for earlier, I don't know how you get outcoached by Stotts in a playoff series.
I really thought of it.
That's another check mark against their future. As long as Billy Donovan, he was horrible in that series.
But notice how they bring in Chris Paul and all of a sudden they're like better than they were last year, even though they lost Westbrook and Paul George. They brought in like the perfect on-floor coach to offset how stupid Billy Donovan is.
That's like Alvin Gentry having like Rajon Rondo and Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis, and all of a sudden he's a great coach when he hasn't been in the playoffs for several years with a similar roster.
Mm-hmm. Yep, just smart players and Chris Paul. And
But,
the thing is, Shy's a pretty smart player as well, and Gallo plays his role
Gallo's
perfectly.
smart, yeah.
The thing
Adams
is,
smart.
I still think OKC in the playoffs will get exposed in terms of the coaching department again. Billy Donovan will get outcoached again, and they'll lose in the first round again.
Yeah, Trevin's right. There are people who think he should be coach of the year this year.
Yeah, that's funny, man. Chris Paul should be, if they think Billy Donovan should be coach of the year, they should be saying Chris Paul's coach of the year, man, because I think Chris Paul had as much of a hand in that as Billy Donovan did.
But yeah, Steven Adams should have averaged 20 against that series, and they should have just kept going to him until we stopped him.
Billy had the 73-9 Warriors down 3-1. Yeah, he had Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, and also who won that series. You get him down 3-1, and then you can't close it out with maybe the best player. Yeah. Okay, got you. Because it sounds like you could make that point for Billy Donovan, saying he got him up 3-1 against a great team, but you had Kevin Durant and Westbrook and Ibaka still, right? Yeah.
Did you see that Dwight Howard's an anti-vaxxer?
Is he? Man, fuck Dwight Howard, dude.
I guess he's already gotten in trouble for not wearing his mask on the campus, and then he came out earlier today saying it's stupid that they're in the bubble and they're required to wear masks.
Bro, he shouldn't have went. He had the option. He knew what he was getting himself into, and he talked about, I might not go to the bubble. It was reported that Dwight Howard is having second thoughts about going to the bubble. Bro, you are a freaking $1 million athlete. You know how many employees making minimum wage across the entire country have to wear masks all day at their job, and he's just being asked to wear a mask around freaking Disney World or wherever? I don't know. It's that complex, right? They can go golfing, they can go on boats, they can do all this stuff, and they're being paid millions of dollars, and they just have to play basketball, and you're gonna sit there complaining about a damn mask. Man, shut the hell up, dude. That annoys the hell out of me, man. How out of touch can you be? You just sound stupid with him in that position to be complaining about having to wear masks and what they have to deal with inside the bubble. You know how many people would just freaking love to be paid $1 million to go and sit in that bubble?
His point was that if they're in a bubble, they shouldn't have to wear the mask because they're all in the bubble together. But you do have employees coming and going and stuff. All it takes is for one person to accidentally get it somehow, and then their whole bubble is ruined if they're not wearing masks. So it's just stupid to not wear it. And it's working because, as you said in the title, that's a good segue into that, I guess. Is that they had no positive tests today for coronavirus, so the whole bubble is corona-free right now. So
let me just say one more thing on Dwight Howard, because I want to say this on Dwight Howard. That's a perfect example of the problem with a lot of adults in America in general. Dude, the NBA has experts at handling this type of stuff that they're consulting with, that are helping mold all the guidelines they're adhering to, right? Experts, medical experts, people that are the most qualified in order to craft guidelines and precautions in this bubble, all right? What the hell does Dwight freaking Howard know compared to the experts that are qualified to handle this? Shut up. It's just... And that's a problem with a lot of people in America. It's just you got the experts that are paid to handle this. You're Dwight Howard. You're a basketball player, bro. You came to the NBA straight out of high school. Very successful life, right? But you're not anywhere near as qualified as the people that are putting these precautions in place. So you shouldn't even be questioning it, right?
And then you got people like Mike who think it's okay to go on vacation and possibly bring corona back.
Experts like Fauci, we're gonna put him in timeout before he starts talking all this nonsense. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. It's just ridiculous. You got too many people that just think they know it all, and they don't know a thing about this, and will just completely second guess experts that are paid to handle this as if I don't know. It's just ridiculous. So, I mean, that's ridiculous for Dwight Howard to be guessing that. And the thing is, he's like, maybe I've missed it, but he's the only player that has publicly questioned something with the precautions so far, right? Is there somebody else that did?
I don't know if anyone's questioned it, but I mean, there are a lot of people complaining about it.
I mean, yeah, but it's like stuff like, the food, right? Like,
as Mario Hazonia said, Steven Adams today said, "We're living in a resort, mate. It's not so hard."
What did Mario say?
He brought up that Steven Adams, Mario in our chat, not the real Mario Hazonia. He said Steven Adams had a quote today saying, like, he doesn't get why people are complaining because they're living in a resort and everything's fine in the bubble. Like, it's not.
I mean, like, what players complain about privately is like a different thing. Like, I might question, like, I might wonder, if I'm a player there, I might wonder in private, like, I wonder why we still have to wear masks if we're in a bubble. You know what I mean? That's completely different than questioning it publicly, saying it's stupid that we still have to wear masks. You know what I mean? That's a completely different thing.
While also being an anti-vaxxer.
What'd you say?
While also being an anti-vaxxer.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother sort of ridiculous. But that's my whole point. Too,
I get, like, people being cautious if they rush a vaccine out, not wanting to do it. But, like, to be against vaccines in general, I think is kind of dumb, but whatever.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like, players will probably, I mean, that's just human nature to just, like, you're in a new situation and to just, like, nitpick things in private, like, oh, I'm tired of being in this room. You know what I mean? Like, that's completely different than going on the record publicly, like, basically doing what Dwight did.
Yeah. Okay, so Trevin brought up something that's really triggering me right now, because I keep having this brought up, that, well, they said at one point that masks didn't stop anything and weren't helpful, and now they're saying they are, so they're lying. It's not a lie. More information became available. At first, they thought the virus could be passed just by, like, you touching something in a store and then someone coming around 5 minutes later and touching that same thing. And even if you were wearing a mask, it wouldn't matter because you touched the same thing. But then they found out that it didn't really spread that way. So, like, it's not necessarily...
There's another point on that I'll add on right here. Another part of the reason is they didn't want the public hoarding a bunch of masks so that the medical professionals didn't have any. That was another big part of that people are forgetting. Is like, we were worried about having PPE for our medical professionals. We're still, like, it's still not the best, but we've ramped up production in terms of masks and stuff, so now our medical professionals can be protected when they're taking care of COVID patients. The problem was, at the time, we were worried about not having anything for medical professionals that had to take care of COVID patients. Like, how are you going to tell, a medical professional, we don't have protection for you, or we have some makeshift, garbage bag over your face. All right, go in there and take care of a COVID patient. You know what I mean? That was a big issue with that, too, is you didn't want people hoarding masks.
Yeah, Josu, because people are obviously listening to everything people say. He said they should have just told people to leave masks for the docks. It's like, people don't listen. That's the whole problem. That's why we're in this mess right now, is people don't want to listen.
Yeah, because you're talking about a pandemic, right? People are all panicked, but people were hoarding, like, the most ridiculous stuff. Like, people were freaking out. People were in the mode where they weren't thinking about other people. They weren't thinking about medical professionals. They didn't care. They were like, how can I protect myself? Let me go out and buy 1 million rolls of toilet paper. Screw anybody else who needs the toilet paper. I need to make sure that I have enough toilet paper for months because I don't know what's happening. Let me go out and get the most hand sanitizer, right? They weren't thinking about anybody else other than, how can I best protect myself right now, right? So if the government said, you just need to make sure you leave masks for the medical professionals who need it, people weren't going to listen because they already weren't caring about anybody else in the first place when they were hoarding stuff.
And to my point, too, is that, so when they initially tested coronavirus, like, how long it lasted on, like, a piece of plastic you touched or got stuff on, it showed that it could last on surfaces for, like, 36 hours or up to 3 days in some cases on certain services. So, like, they thought at first, like, you could wear a mask in public, but you could accidentally touch something, go home, and then touch your face, and then it would spread it that way. But then as they got more information, they realized that, no, as long as you have a face covering and you're not spitting it out or like like doing anything that breathing that or like minimizing that process, um, like it's really hard to spread it then if you have your mouth and nose covered. So they learned that was possible. So like I don't understand why they can't change their guidelines based on new information becoming available. The virus still is able to live a long time on surfaces, but they found it's like almost impossible to contract it that way, even though it's still alive technically. So
yep, they just trusted, man. You think that they didn't have scientists here that were doing these sort of studies to try and figure out things? You think that they came out with those with the guidelines to not go out and buy a bunch of masks just because of the World Health Organization in China? It wasn't because of the World Health Organization in China. As I said, they were worried about not having enough masks for the people who truly needed them, right? For the people who truly needed them, they were worried about not having enough masks, and then, still trying to find out certain stuff about the virus. They did studies that showed that, as Eric said, which you're not really listening to Eric, they did studies that showed that it could stay on surfaces for days, which means that's, potentially transmissible from person to surface to person, right? And then they got information later on that showed that was a major way. It was not a major way that it was transferred. The most, by far, the most often way it's transferred is from person to person through the air. So that's the thing, man. Like you were like nitpicking, trying to find a way to discredit experts for no reason. Like that's what you're doing, Josu. I don't understand that.
The thing is, too, I mean, from the beginning, our president has kind of ignored how serious this has been and has refused to wear a mask and done certain things, too. So, like, I mean, you expect the government to say all these things that are true, but, like, they just banned hospitals from reporting to the CDC any information. They're taking all the information, and you don't think they're going to manipulate the information now that they have it? Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, they didn't take it serious enough. Like you said, they cut funds to the CDC, so they didn't have enough resources to find out stuff right away. That doesn't mean they were wrong or they were lying. It just means that they were not in a position to make sure they had all the information. And now that they do have a lot more information, they give the recommendation for it. It doesn't mean you have to ignore their recommendation because they're liars and they can never say a truthful thing now that they lied about masks not being effective in the beginning when they didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, and even if it was just, even if they knew that it helped protect people, it's completely fine if they said, we don't recommend, wearing masks if that resulted in enough masks for medical professionals, because those are the people who truly need it. Yes, it might have been misleading, but it would have been for the greater good, so that, freaking Betty, who's not going to go outside her house, it's so that she doesn't buy 50 masks, so that 50 masks could go to people taking care of COVID patients. You know what I mean? Like, I'm completely fine with that. If the government was misleading so that Betty didn't hoard 1 million masks so that medical professionals could have them, I am completely fine with that. And anybody who's not fine with that is literally just trying to find a way to complain about masks now, or they're just trying to find a way to discredit experts, or they just have some sort of agenda with their opinions, because I don't see any way why you would be upset at the fact that the government led Betty to not hoard 1 million masks in order to save them for medical professionals. I don't know why anybody would have a problem with that. It doesn't make any sense. So I don't know what you're on about, man. I don't know what you're on about, Josu, because you're literally ignoring the whole point I made. You're being ridiculous right now.
He just once again said they gave wrong info when they had no info when I cited studies, and then you repeated to him that I cited studies that they made that did show that it spread in other ways, and now he's ignoring that, and yeah, it's kind of annoying.
See, and I hate people that talk like this, like, oh, he's okay with government manipulation. They like make it sound much, much worse than it is. Like, bro, the government is not like it's
the government. Like, they're making it seem like the government was like everyone be good now, and then everyone disobeyed. That's not what happened. The government said, oh, this isn't a big deal. There's 15 cases. It'll be gone in a few weeks. Like, no, nothing will happen. And now they're like, oh, 140,000 people died. We're doing pretty good, all things considered, even though we didn't do anything to stop it.
Yeah, the manipulation I have a problem with is the manipulation coming straight from the White House. That is the manipulation that I have a problem with, right? Because you have Donald Trump peddling hydroxychloroquine without any factual backing. Like, if you want to talk about misleading... yeah, if you want to talk about misleading information when they have no info, you should be complaining about hydroxychloroquine right now with how Trump pushed that, right? That should be... If putting out information without anything to back it is what you have a problem with, Josu, then your number one problem should have been the fact that people could have or might have died because they took hydroxychloroquine without any scientific backing that it actually helped with this virus shoot and might have made cases worse, right? So that should be your issue, man, not, oh, the government told people not to hoard a bunch of masks when this started so that medical professionals could have them. Like, that's ridiculous, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about...
Was that well said? Was that well said? I'm getting better at my political rants, man. Still not anywhere close to how good my basketball rants are, but yeah.
Mike doesn't like it, of course.
Yeah. I mean, well, Mike gets all his information from Clay Travis, so I'm glad that Mike doesn't think it was a good rant, because that means that I have more confidence in what I just said because Mike doesn't like it. So that's how I know I'm saying the right thing. Mr. Clay Travis robot, man, just sits here repeating, thinks Clay Travis is his overlord, and anyway. Yeah, we could talk about something else. It was fun to rant about politics a little bit. Don't be a bootlicker. How am I being the bootlicker? What the hell are you talking about? Eric, how am I'm being the...
I don't know, man. That's stupid. That's stupid.
Don't make me lose respect for you, Josu, man. I like you, but you're being absolutely ridiculous right now, man. Oh, my goodness. You guys are spot on, says Jack. Yeah, be a rebel like Josu. Why not, Solar Money? What does a mask hurt? If they have enough masks for everybody, why is this is actually like, okay, I know you wanted to move on, but this is something I want to talk about. Why shouldn't they be mandated in counties that have 10 active cases? Because if everybody wears a mask, it's not going to go past 10 active cases. If nobody wears a mask, it could very well go from 10 to 100 to 1,000, like that. Like, that's what we've seen with this. So they should be mandated everywhere, because it literally doesn't stop you from doing anything. It's literally just only a minor inconvenience. But the thing is, I wear a mask all day. I get to the point that I forget I have it on. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a big deal to just wear a damn mask. Like, there's no reason why it shouldn't be mandated in counties that have 10 active cases. Oh my God, yeah, because the government is trying to control you by stopping you from spitting on another person, right? You're not... out of all the things that the government has done to try and, monitor people through data from Facebook, to monitor people through data from phone companies, right? They are trying to restrict your freedom by telling you to wear something that stops you from spitting a disease onto another person. Right, man. Come on, bro. They aren't restricting any sort of freedom. Wearing a mask does not restrict you from doing anything. Anything. It doesn't restrict you from doing a single thing. So by them saying that you should wear a mask if you go out in public, right? It's so that they can give you more freedom down the line, because it's been proven that if you wear masks, it's going to help curb this pandemic, and it's going to help this country open back up. So by trying to get people to wear masks, they're literally trying to give you more freedom down the road, because masks will help curb this pandemic. So the whole narrative about they're restricting our freedoms by making us wear masks is just absolute bullshit.
They're not taking any power. You have the same abilities to do whatever you want. It's just you're wearing a mask so you don't spread a virus. Like, that's stupid. anyone who says that is an absolute selfish person. It's just wear the mask so other people don't get sick and you don't spread it if you potentially have it and don't know you have it. It's not. They're not trying to take away any of your freedoms or liberties. It's wearing a dumb mask. It's not taking your guns or doing anything like that.
Yeah. I don't know why you keep bringing up Serbia. We're talking about the United States of America. I don't really know what you're trying to say with Serbia. Look up Serbia. How is wearing masks in Serbia?
And how is this different than wearing a seatbelt or wearing shoes and a shirt when you go into stores? It's not
exactly.
That's when those laws were put into effect. It wasn't taking away your freedom.
A seatbelt's a good analogy because it's to keep you safe, right? The thing is like they're more justified to have you wear a mask out in public than they are to make you wear seatbelts, right? Because you're supposed to wear the seatbelt to keep yourself safe, right? You're supposed to wear a mask in order to keep other people safe, right? I hate when people don't wear masks in public because I'm consistently around somebody who's 75 years old, right? And one person not wearing a mask in public, even though I'm wearing mine and I try and keep my distance, right? One person not wearing a mask in public could end up in a 75-year-old I'm around dying, right? It doesn't matter if there's 1 case here, 100 cases here, 1,000,000 cases here. Like, all it takes is one person to get me infected, right? And that one person would be being selfish because, they're taking away my freedom, so I'm not going to wear a mask. Okay, and then I have to go pick up food because I drive for DoorDash. I get close to them because I have to. Then I get infected. I don't know it. And then the 75-year-old gets infected, who I try and keep my distance from, and I always wear a mask around anyway, but, like, that's how things happen. That's how people die, and you're sitting here worried about your freedom of being able to spit on other people when you talk being restricted, being able to spew your virus, if you have it, out towards other people. Oh, they're restricting it by making me wear a piece of cloth over my face. Oh my God. Bro, Josu, man, get a grip, bro. Get a grip.
And when they weren't mandatory, less than half the people in my store wore them. It was probably closer to 20% of the people wore masks in there. And the cases started shooting back up. And you guys, this is why I hate people that talk like Mike and Josu do, because they're the freaking reasons we are mandated to wear masks, yet at the same time, they're arguing that we shouldn't have our freedoms taken away. Well, if you idiots would have just wore your mask and not gone out and not gone to freaking Tahoe on vacation right now and stuff like that, where you could potentially pass the virus around even more, that's what's causing all these spikes and stuff. And instead, we got people thinking they don't have to do this because Clay Travis tells them it's not a real virus and it's a hoax and it's not even that serious and it's basically the level of a flu. And then we have all these people then argue about not wearing masks when they're the same people that were out protesting that they need to go get their hair cut like a few months ago and not wearing masks at those events and stuff like that. So
Eric chose money over lives. What the fuck are you talking about, Josu? I'm fucking done with you if you're gonna come in here and say that shit, bro. I'm fucking...
Josu, I would have people like you coming in my store saying, you can't tell me what to do, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. Like, that doesn't have anything to do with making money over lives. I am torn morally every day because I see idiots like you guys coming in saying, fuck the rules, I'm going to have 500 people at my party. Screw this, it's my birthday, I'm partying it up, I'm not wearing a mask, screw that. I hear that like 20 times a day, and I'm just like, you freaking idiots, you're the ones spreading this virus around and all this stuff, and I'm not playing the victim, man, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we're done
You're
with you,
being a bitch.
Yeah, 1,000%. Like, bro, you can't come in here and say inflammatory bullshit like that, man. Like, stop watching our channel if you think that's where our morals lie, right? If you think that's where Eric's morals lie, bro, like, you haven't watched this guy enough to know better than that. Shit, man. He's literally asking people to wear masks so that we can help save lives and so we can help curb this pandemic, and you're going to say some bullshit like that, bro. That pisses me off, man. That pisses me off, bro. You're just beyond ignorant, and I'm just tired of ignorant people like you, man. I'm tired of ignorant people like you, because the thing is, if there wasn't ignorant idiots out here, we would not be. People like you are the reason why this country is having such a problem in the first place. Is the reason why this country is handling the pandemic probably worse than any other country in the entire planet, right? It's because of ignorance. It's because of people like you. If everybody just wore a damn mask for 4 or 5 weeks, right? And we would be able to open back up. Eric wouldn't have to be torn morally because people aren't wearing masks in the first place. Like, if everybody wore a mask, could do everything safe, we could have some sort of level of reopening right now. We wouldn't have to go back on reopening, right? It's not even a fucking hard thing for people to do, yet it's not all love, bro. It's not all love, bro. That's Joseph, literally bullshit. You don't say shit like that and then say, oh, it's all love. No, you literally said he cares more about money than people's lives, bro. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
And I fucking closed my business for 2 months. I did not make a dime for fucking 2 months because I tried to do the right thing and not stay at home. And I barely left my house for those 2 months. It really was tough on the business and all that stuff. I only reopened when the government told me it was safe to reopen. I've used every precaution. I've tried to do everything I could to make my employees safe. I do not value money over lives. I would rather still be closed if the coronavirus would be safe and everyone would just follow along. And that's the part that pisses me off the most, is you have all these people who didn't take it seriously, who are still going out. You have people coming in, like I had a lady today who came in without a mask coughing, and I asked her to wear a mask, and she was just like, oh, I'm just here having fun, I'm just whatever, and like left. It's like, what are you doing out shopping? Like, this isn't needed to go out right now. You don't need to go to a store and just walk around with no mask and cough everywhere. Like, you have people doing that in all facets of life right now, and we're not being sensitive, dude. Like, I freaking shut down my business, and I would do anything. I would sacrifice my business if it meant saving just a few lives in Oregon right now. And if you don't know that about me, then shut the fuck up, because you do not know what you're talking about. Yeah. I'm not a hypocrite. I would rather lose my business than have people die that I don't even fucking know. And that's the type of person I am. So you can go to fucking hell if you think that way. Because like I would not do that. I would rather be sitting here broke and without a business right now than to have 140,000 people die.
Yep. And I know Eric well enough to know that. That's why it pisses me off to see shit like that said. Sorry for those of you who want to talk basketball right now. This is just another stream where you just have ignorant people coming in to chat and just spewing ignorant bullshit. This one was, I mean, I can't say worse because we've had some bad things in the past, but you're talking about Josu here attacking Eric's character like that. I'm going to stand up for Eric. Eric's going to stand up for himself. And if you were in our position, you would do the same. So Kyle says, Solar Money, those were the days, weren't they? Shaking my head when Solar Money says, if we could disagree without insulting each other, the country would be so much more unified. Yeah, well, if you had people that didn't try and make a point by just completely attacking Eric like Josu just did, saying he cares more about money than other people's lives, like we wouldn't have gotten to this point. But yet here you have Josu just being absolutely ridiculous, man. And Solar Money, like, bro, if we could disagree without insulting each other, the country would be so much more unified. Bro, the problem goes far, far, far beyond people insulting each other. Right? You literally, we've had disagreements in the past, and the main problem is people don't listen, right? People get so caught up in their own beliefs that they don't listen to other people. They don't listen to experts. They don't listen to people that disagree with them. And you're a perfect example of that, because I've tried to talk to you about multiple different things and you really struggle to listen. As far as your whole opinion on the whole, it's like, you know what? Honestly, I don't even have a huge problem with the opinion that I think masks should be worn regardless of your geographical location, but not mandated in small case counties only. Like, I think it should be mandated everywhere. Like, I 1000% disagree with your opinion. Just because if you mandate it everywhere, that makes it most likely that the most lives will be saved. So that's what you do, right? Like, you're talking about a bunch of small locations across the country, right? And if you mandate masks in all those places, it's going to save lives, right? Because even though in one small place or two small places, masks might not make a difference if they only have 2 cases and those people are isolating, right? You're going to have a small location here that somebody's not going to wear a mask and they're going to have it and they're going to go infect somebody who dies, or go infect somebody who will infect somebody else who will die. Like, you're going to have small locations where that is the case. So if you mandated face masks everywhere, you would end up saving lives. So that's why it should be mandated.
And in case you guys don't know, they did only mandate it in Portland and the surrounding counties, and then it flared up all over the state, and they had to mandate it everywhere. They didn't start mandating it the entire Oregon. They didn't even start mandating it at first. They only started mandating it when it started flaring back up again, and everyone was being dumb with how they were being. And once the counties started going into the phases and stuff, everyone was like, oh, coronavirus is over, party time, let's go on vacation, blah, blah, blah. And this is why you have to have it everywhere in Oregon, because all the people from Portland started going camping in Eastern Oregon. They started going to the beach where they didn't have flare-ups, and now all of a sudden all those towns have flare-ups and shit, and now we all have to wear a mask because people that were refusing to wear it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big problem in rural areas. It's a big problem in rural areas, right? Those small locations with only a few cases, it's growing there. It's growing there. So, yeah, they should mandate masks there. As Eric just said, you have a perfect example of them doing exactly what you say they should be doing, Solar Money, in not mandating face masks in rural areas, and that's just led to more cases in rural areas and more deaths. That's why they should mandate it everywhere. It'll save the most lives. It'll help us get back to a further stage of reopening sooner if everybody wore a mask. That's just how it should be. And the whole... Do you want? I'll let you go.
I'll just say this all comes back to if our president would have just worn a mask like towards the beginning and said like everyone just wear a mask, like
his fan base would have.
Wear a mask. Yeah, his fan base would have, which is the fan base. I hate to make this political, but it's mostly Trump supporters that are refusing to wear a mask right now, and like most people would be wearing one if everyone was saying, "Hey, wear a mask," and then you have Trump and all his supporters wearing one. You have the people who everyone else who uses common sense wearing one, and then it would be.
I mean, you look at other countries and how they've curbed it, right? Obviously, we have a higher population, but in terms of in terms of data that takes into account population, we're still doing absolutely terribly, right? It's not just we have a bunch more people and we're testing. No, it's beyond that. Anybody that knows how to look at statistics and do some math can realize that. So yeah, I mean that's the big problem is Trump early on should have just set a better tone for this whole thing. He set a horrible tone for this whole thing. And if you can look at data, Republicans, man, they think they've throughout this whole pandemic have thought this pandemic is less threatening when compared to what Democrats thought about it. You know, his fan base has thought this isn't a big deal for the most part.
And so he says that Trump was just going by what the WHO and CDC recommended. That's not true either. It was freaking Memorial Day when he made fun of Joe Biden for going to a memorial with a mask on. He made fun of him, basically called him a pussy because he was wearing a mask. And that was freaking almost 3 months after the pandemic started, and 2.5 months after things started shutting down across the country, stuff like that. He was still making fun of someone who was wearing a mask just because he was wearing a mask. And it was only within the last couple of weeks that he was like, oh, I put a mask, I look pretty cool. But I've only seen him on that one photo op wearing one. Like, if he would have been wearing one from the beginning, not even from the beginning, from when they started recommending that masks should be worn, which was back in May, or April even, like this whole thing could have been made up. And Solar Money, you're not listening again. Like you have a serious listening problem, man. You cannot strongly emphasize that masks be worn but not mandated. That does not work. Governor Brown, everyone, it's spring break weekend. Do not go to the beach. Do not go out. Do not go on vacation. What does everyone do? Storm the beach. Go on vacation. So then she has to shut it down. She gave everyone a warning, but people are saying, oh, the government just wants control. They tried to urge you and do exactly what you're saying. Just like with the other stuff, you are not listening. It was highly emphasized that masks be worn. She told everyone, please wear a mask, please, please. I don't want to have to mandate this. And then people didn't wear them, so she had to mandate it. People still aren't wearing them. And that's the problem when people like Mike says like, oh, well, it's still not working, blah, blah, we're still having cases. It's because people are still refusing to do it, and they're still going out and still going to places when not wearing their masks and trying to think that they're above like having to do it because they won't be told what to do. Yeah. It's making me mad. Like you're not listening. It does not work to just tell people to emphasize that they should wear it. It does not work.
Bro, Kyle, like, I don't even want to get into the whole travel ban thing, but, like, the whole issue from the Dem side wasn't even that they shouldn't issue a travel ban. And I'm not even really going to get into that. Like, literally, that might be the only place where you could justifiably say that the Dems might have really screwed up, right? I don't know. Like, if you only want to bring up the travel ban to say both sides are not to blame, I can point to you to far more damaging rhetoric and far more damaging stuff from Donald Trump and the Republican Party compared to, the Dems didn't support a travel ban early on. Like, dude, that it's so different in terms of proportion, right? The Dems not supporting a travel ban, and Donald Trump wants to withhold funding from testing right now. Republican governors are far more lax on this virus and seeing a responding rise in cases. Like, I don't even want to get into the side, like one side versus the other thing, but...
And I just want to mention that all sides are messed up right now. Like, I don't think anyone's handled this particularly well. And so, like, even Bernie Sanders had a tweet the other day about, I'm going to, what's going on in Oregon with this federal police officers coming in and saying, like, that's not acceptable. That's unconstitutional. It's like, next week I'm going to talk to someone about this. Like, you're a freaking senator. Go fucking do something. Hold an emergency meeting now. Like, why are you guys just sitting around letting the president send, like, federal troops unmarked into and taking citizens around? And, like everyone's failing us right now. Everyone is failing us. Mm-hmm. And I just want to ask Josu a question. Do you think masks work, Josu?
Yeah. I also want to ask Josu a question. How old are you, Josu? Because I'm wondering if he's under 18. Because it kind of seems like it. Destrom, yes, Trump does want to withhold testing. Yes, he does. He wants to withhold funding from testing. I mean, he said publicly that he suggested we test less people so that the numbers look better. And then a week later, he said something like, "Oh, that wasn't a joke," or "I don't joke." Like, he wants less testing. How in a pandemic would you want less testing for the disease? Unless it was for something superficial, unless it was to make him look better. And that's the thing. He only cares about himself. He only cares about how he looks. He wants, it goes back to the ship that he held offshore so it wouldn't raise his numbers early on, raise the country's coronavirus cases numbers, as if that made a difference. Like, yes, Destrom, Donald Trump wants to withhold funding from testing 100%. And then you have random people like CJ McMisson coming here saying, stop hating on Trump. He's just misled. And, yeah, you're fooling yourself, man. You're fooling yourself. You're not paying attention. Like, I don't want any 16-year-old kids or 17-year-old kids or however old you are coming in here saying, don't hate on Trump. Is he? Well, okay.
But, so Trevin has a good point, too. Same thing with the opening of schools. Like, they're just the White House came out and said that they don't care about the science. They're going to send kids to school. And then, like, the press secretary was asked if Trump would send Barron to school, his son, and it was like, oh, that's a personal decision if he thinks it's safe or not. It's like, well, why are you making everyone else go to school?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
so, and I just want to say something real quick about the whole 16, 17-year-old thing. Honestly, the 16-year-olds that watch this chat, I think, are more educated on this stuff than a lot of the adults that are in this chat. Let me just say that. Trevin, Destrom, and guys like that, like. I'm not going to go any more on that. I didn't want it to seem like a shot at you guys. Go ahead, Eric.
So, Josie keeps calling us bootlickers, and we're taking the boot up the butt. But, so you agree that masks help. We agree that masks help, too. I want everyone to wear a mask. I don't give a fuck how it happens. I don't care if it's the government mandating it. I don't care if everyone just wears it out of the goodness of their heart because they don't want to get people sick. I just want people to wear a mask. So if the government has to tell people it's mandated, if the government has to make it a freaking felony, a class A felony, if you don't wear a mask, I am for that right now, because no one should be out of their house in public, in a public store or area, not wearing a mask. So whatever it has to happen, I don't care if that makes me a bootlicker or whatever. If everyone has to wear a mask out in public spaces, I think that's what should have to happen.
Yep, and they've already tried, encouraging it, and you still had a lot of people that didn't listen to them. So it's not like they just went 0 to 100. If the government was really trying to control you or really trying to do something malicious, they might have went in April 0 to 100 with the whole mask thing and said, oh, well, before we said not to wear masks, now we're going to say, oh, it's a felony if you wear a mask right now, gone 0 to 100, right? They didn't do that, right? They recommended people wear masks. They encouraged people wear masks. They didn't make it any sort of mandate for a long, long time, just hoping that people would be smart and listen. But people weren't smart. Not enough people listened. Just like his example of the government strongly urging people not to go out to the beach, and then a bunch of people ran out to the beach. There's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, I'm not going to listen to anything the government says, so I'm going to go out to a grocery store and not wear a mask and infect 5 people if I have coronavirus. You have a lot of people like that. With the same logic that a lot of the people we're arguing with right now, Eric, a lot of the people we're arguing with are displaying that same exact logic. They're displaying that same logic. So that's the thing, is the government already tried with this, and
okay.
Yeah.
Glenn and Josie, I just want to say this. Why does the government have to legislate or mandate masks to begin with? Why can't everyone just wear a freaking mask and not be selfish? Just do what's right to get through this pandemic. That's all I freaking care about. I don't give a shit about if it's a law or if there's penalties for it. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's mandated or if it's a law or what. I wear a seatbelt when I drive because it's a good thing to do. I don't commit murders because I don't want to murder people. It doesn't matter if it's a law or not. I wouldn't go kill people. Even if it wasn't a law, just be a good person.
Yeah.
That's not.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, their logic here, you could apply it to, oh, why is it illegal to go kill someone? Where's my freedom? You know what I mean? I should have freedom to do whatever I want. That's the mindset a lot of people have. Yeah, I mean, everybody should not kill people, but the thing is, there's people out there that would. Yeah, if it wasn't against the law, and they don't because it's against the law. So that's why the government is put in a position where they need to mandate masks, because if they mandate masks, you're going to have people out there that wouldn't wear a mask, but since the government is mandating it, they will, and that'll help save lives. And in the end, that's what matters the most. So, yeah. Can you type? I don't know if your first language is English, Josu, but I'm kind of having a tough time seeing what you're saying, man. They mandate because of the docs or to give us a chance. I don't know what you mean by that. And the mask. We don't need to go in on Josu anymore. My ending point on that is how the hell is how the hell is the government saying you need to wear a mask? How is that giving them power when they're trying to save lives? If I have to give the government a little bit more power in order for people's lives to be saved, fine. The thing is, it's a mask. It's not stopping you from doing anything. It's not stopping you from accomplishing anything. You can do anything you want with a mask on, and it'll help save people's lives. So instead of sitting here bitching about, oh, the governmental power they're getting from telling us to wear masks, instead of worrying about that, maybe worrying about not, infecting somebody who will end up infecting somebody else, and that person will die. Don't be a chain in the link from you being infected, not wearing a mask, and infecting other people and causing deaths because of it, right? So, yeah, you're just gonna throw out insults here without knowing what you're saying. I'm not really offended by anything you're saying because you've proved your ignorance so far. So, I mean, I would expect ignorant people to insult me over the things that I've said on this stream because I'm not ignorant. I'm not gonna sit here and say ignorant stuff. So I know you don't like that. I know it doesn't line up with your views, and that's fine.
It's it's just a shame that it has to be political.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, just do everyone wear a mask because you can help save lives and get through this pandemic. It has nothing to do with whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Hell, I don't even like politics. Like, I freaking hate politics. I hate talking about it. I hate that it's even an issue right now. Like, I don't understand why people can't just wear a freaking mask.
Yeah. And it's like we try and go into these streams not talking about this stuff, and I guess
Yeah.
these conversations happen because of what's said in chat. I just want to let you guys know, and then some stuff gets said that we have to respond to, like I feel the need to respond to, and then it becomes a whole discussion. So that's how these things happen. Like we don't come here, oh, we want to have this whole rant. We want to talk about basketball. Blazers are playing on Thursday. But what Josu said, you were being close-minded, and then the next comment he said was, what insult? He just said being close-minded. I don't know what you're talking about. You're calling us bootlickers and stuff, bro. You're just sitting here throwing around insults. I've just lost a lot of respect for you, Josu, man. I don't know what you thought we thought before, but I did not realize you were quite like this. So, I mean, I did lose some respect for you, man. Because part of it is just like, you know what, you can be ignorant, but don't sit here saying what you said to Eric and insulting us and all that type of stuff. Like, that's just too low. I probably won't let you talk in chat after this. There has to be standards. There has to be standards for people talking in chat, and I am pretty relaxed on what I let people get away with in chat. Shoot, People's Mix was around here for far longer than he probably should have been. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty relaxed, but like stuff like that just doesn't fly with me. Anyway. One final thing. I do want to respond to Glenn's comments. I do want to move off this conversation, though. The reason the government has lost credibility is because they have proven themselves unworthy of credibility. Dude, there's so many different branches of the government and different people in government with different beliefs and different ideas on how to handle things that treating it like just one whole entity, I think is flawed. I think it's flawed, right? There's some things you can trust the government on. There's some things you can't. The government is not completely credible. The government is not completely trustable. I 100% agree with that. But to use that to literally go against every single thing they say, every single thing the government says at all is just flawed. It is just so flawed. So.
Later, Malcolm. Have a good night.
I'll catch you later, Malcolm. But yeah, so I mean, just don't treat the government as one entity like that.
No, that is not why People's Mix got banned. So.
Yeah, you have no idea, Alex. You have no idea. It was a lot more. I don't know. I don't know if it was more or less ridiculous. It was ridiculous in like a completely different kind of way. Tori's a hater unsubscribing. Please unsubscribe, CJ. Please unsubscribe. The thing is, CJ McMissin. That's already a hater name to begin with. It's CJ McMissin, right? So that already sounds like a hater. I mean, that's probably a burner account. Because I haven't seen this guy before, and then he's in here talking, So I don't know. Maybe it's a burner, but that's like a hater. You know what I mean? CJ McMissin. Doesn't sound like a Blazer fan anyway. So yeah, go ahead and unsubscribe. Please unsubscribe. I was at 201 subs before this, so that'll get it down to an even 200. I like an even 200. I'm down with that. Trevin. Would Shaq be a good president? Honestly, Shaq would try to. I shouldn't even. I don't even want to make things political, but I think Shaq would honestly try to be a better president. He would try harder than Donald Trump does at being a good president.
Can't be any worse.
Yeah, he would put in more of an effort into being a good president than Donald Trump has. Let me just say that. Yeah. You're at 203. Well, now I'm at 202. I don't know, man. If you don't agree with our views, you can unsubscribe if you want, or you can stick around and not. Oh, God. I just hit that user. So if you just changed an account, or there's probably just somebody created an account for him. I don't think that's actually Mix. There's no way he'd come in right after we mentioned him. There's no way, unless he was the McMissing guy, but I doubt it. Because he's in here right now. You aren't a real Blazer fan, right?
Yeah, I agree with you there, Kyle.
I mean, we have to choose between Trevor and Vi. We can't do worse, right? Yeah, I'm not a. I ain't even gonna get into it, man. Like, it's just a tough state to be in going into this election. I'm not super fond of Biden, but 1,000% want him compared to the alternative. So if Shaq was president, he would make free barbecue chicken day for everyone. Yeah, that would be a dub. Kanye is on something. Kanye, yes. Kanye does need help, man. I don't know what happened to Kanye, but he is have you seen some of the stuff he said? I've just seen headlines.
I saw his Harriet Tubman stuff. I was like, what are you talking about?
God, man. Like, vaccines are the mark of the devil or some shit, and I don't even know. I forget some of it, but it was just like, this dude, he just does not seem okay. He seems like mentally not not in a healthy mental state at the moment, which is why Josu agrees with him. Kanye has courage. He says what's on his mind. I don't even disagree with him saying what's on his mind. That's the problem, though. If that's really what his mind thinks, that is he's delusional, man. You used to be cool, Josu. Just get the hell out of here, man. If I'm not cool anymore, just turn off your phone or whatever and just leave, bro. That's all you have to do. It's literally not hard. Like, don't sit here complaining. Leave. I have no problem with you leaving. Like, I like having support, but like, you in the grand scheme of things, with what all the stuff you've said, I do not care if you leave, bro. Actually, I kind of want you to. Like, go ahead, bye, peace, have a good one. You don't want me to expose you? Oh yeah, what are you gonna expose me on, man? Go ahead and expose me, bro. Go ahead and expose me. I've already had that threat twice in the past year. Never had anything happen of it, man. Go ahead and expose me, bro. Rap? You're going to expose me for the rap?
You're going to make a rap?
Or he's talking about, the rap I would put out. Which, honestly, I honestly did try and find the guy that donated me $100 to give him a refund. Because I can't really do it where I'm at. I also said I'd do it before the end of the season, which it's not even the end of the season. So go ahead and try and expose me on that. I've been on the record multiple times saying, like, I would pay First P Last JL back, but I can't find him. So go ahead. Yeah, I stole $100. Yeah, I make content for fucking free. Put in hours upon hours of content that in the grand scheme of things, I probably make about, I don't know, 50 cents an hour on the content I put out. But yeah, I stole $100, man. Get the fuck out of here, you piece of shit. I'm done with you, bro. Leave. I want what you've said in the stream to show up on the playback, but like, get the fuck out of here, Josu.
Like, for the record, I haven't made a dime from the hundreds of hours I've put into this over the last year. So I do this for free and for fun. So yeah, I don't give a shit if you like Tori or not.
And before you say, oh wow, you didn't offer Eric a split, I did. Eric wants to do this for fun. Eric wants to do this for fun. Shoot, I'm going to pull probably at least a couple $100 out of my pocket to create a website for this channel, to allow people a place to write, and to expand this platform. Websites are really hard to make money off of. I'm probably not even going to make it up. So yeah, I'm not going to, I'm not in it for the money, bro. Quit bullshitting. You're literally just exposing yourself as an absolute idiot right now. So I mean, I'll let you keep exposing yourself as an absolute moron, bro. Go ahead and expose me with your, I don't know, 10 Twitter followers. Go say I stole 100 or something.
Yeah. First of all, I don't make any money from my company. I I make enough to pay my employees and to try to keep the store afloat. And we're just coming off I just told you that we were closed down for over 2 months. So dude, shut the fuck up.
It's so stupid, bro.
Like I don't make a lot of money. I'm not very well off. I do not. I think I made like less than $10,000. It was like $6,000 or something last year from my business, and that's my full-time job that I work like 90 hours a week on. So you can shut the fuck up. I work for like pennies at that to try and start it up and get it going. But like,
they'll say, "Oh, why do you do it then?" That's part of starting a business. That's part of trying to grow a business. It takes time. A lot of businesses run in the negative for multiple years before they're able to make a positive. It's not just some easy thing where you just start a business and you just start making money, and you can keep being a dick and keep trying to talk about like Eric's fine. He doesn't need your money. Like, he's doing fine. I don't know why you're bringing up his personal.
Why do you even care? Like, what does it matter? What does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, see, like, here's the thing: if I hide somebody's comments or I ban them, it deletes everything they've said in this chat. So it's like I really just want to like ban him, but I don't want everything he said to just disappear. So I want it to be seen. If somebody's watching on the playback and wants to know like why we're mad or why we're annoyed, I want them to be able to see like why. So, Josu, can you just leave, bro? Please? Instead of sitting here acting childish as hell, acting immature, talking shit. Can you leave, bro? Like, please? Quit being a child and just leave my stream. I would appreciate it.
I gave him medicine. Sorry.
Like, I honestly don't think anybody in this chat wants you here right now, Josu, so just leave, bro.
And for the record, I don't lead a very lavish life. So, like, I put in a lot of hard work to get completely out of debt other than my house. And so, yeah, I don't spend a lot of money. So I don't need a lot of money. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, CJ McMisson.
Glenn, if somebody was sitting here saying these types of things to you, I bet you would not be ignoring it, man. CJ hasn't even said. I'm just gonna do that because he hasn't said anything.
And so Glenn asked who would play more, Trent or Simons in the restart. It's definitely going to be Trent. He's more of a wing, and we need wing depth. Right now, we have basically no backup shooting guard or small forward, and I think Simons is going to have a really short leash. They're going to give him a chance to prove if he's shown anything from getting all that playing time this season, but I don't think they're going to leave him in very long if he struggles like they did earlier in the season.
Yep. Actually, I am just going to ignore anything this guy says because a lot of it's just BS. And he could keep making himself look stupid. I'll talk about basketball because the thing is we haven't even gotten to like the Nassir talk. We haven't even gotten to the bubble talk. I wish you guys would quit derailing the stream with this stuff, man. Oh, the thing is, Thursday we'll have basketball back, so this should be like the last stream, hopefully, for a long time where we have to like go in on this type of stuff. You know, that is the positive of it, Eric. I mean,
yeah,
it is frustrating, you know, having people in here bringing you down, bringing me down, and doing that type of stuff, man. If it, you know, but anytime anybody says some stuff like that, I'll stand up and.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Anyway, you guys want us to talk about Nassir? We can talk about the bubble. We can maybe talk about some of the things we're looking for in the scrimmages. That would be a cool video to put out, but I'm working like crazy, so it's tough right now. But just lighten up the rest of the stream.
Yeah, so you and I both know from watching some of Nassir's high school footage that he used to be like he was kind of like a point forward on that team, and like he always brought the ball up. He was always playmaking, dribbling, a bunch of other stuff, and so like to see him pull that move off he did today. It didn't surprise me that he did it. It was more surprising that he was actually in a Blazers scrimmage and did it now.
Yeah.
Because for those that don't know,
I'll put it up on the screen too.
I feel like watching him at UNC, I feel like they tried to make him into like something he's not necessarily. And that's like an off the ball shooter type where, like, as you can see in that, I try not to get too excited. Like I think you were the same way. Like when Nurk hits 4 threes in a row in practice, it's like, I mean, almost anyone can hit 4 threes in practice. Even if you're not a good shooter. But if Nas is able, like if they have confidence in him to handle the ball like this and to be a shot creator, playmaker type, I think he has that skill set in him. I'm not saying he can just come in like right now in this bubble experience or maybe even like not the next couple of years and showcase that. But like I think this is more the type of player that suits his game.
Yeah.
Is being like this versus just standing in the corner waiting for a kick out on 3 and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, people have to remember he's 19, maybe 20 now, right? So he's still very, very, very young. Like, and I do agree with you. Usually, I try not to overreact to Nurkic hitting threes in practice or one clip from a scrimmage. But the thing is, with this clip, like his biomechanics look really good.
It's confident. Like you have to be confident to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like if Aminu did a move like this, his footwork would be nowhere near as good as Nassir's. You know what I mean? Like Nassir's footwork here and like just biomechanics are so solid. That's what excites me about it. You know what I mean? Because like it's only one play, but a lot of guys would not be able to physically move the way Nassir Little is moving in this clip, if that makes sense. Like, he has to obviously improve his ball handling so that he's able to just be more comfortable and do more with the ball, but just his footwork on this clip and just how he's not even going full speed and he's shaking a perimeter defender. You know what I mean? Like he is going maybe 50% and he's being shifty enough to, I mean, CJ's the best defender, but it's still a good move. It's still a good move at 50% quickness, right? Like if he gets his ball handling better, he should be able to do moves like this at maybe even a faster pace. And just based on, how his body looks, his biomechanics, I think he has that in him.
And he's obviously showing a work ethic. I'll say this again. You do not improve your shot mechanics during a season that much without putting in just an absolute ton of hours of work. And it's the same way with Trent and his defensive improvements this year. Like you have to be self-motivated to put in that work yourself, because during the season, you're not going to get a lot of practice time to do that kind of stuff. So like you had to have been going to the gym hours upon hours every day, trying to get better just yourself personally without it being a practice or anything.
Yeah.
And that'll bode well for him. And then he also mentioned that Damian Lillard said to him pretty early on that if you miss a shot, it doesn't matter, just keep shooting and stuff like that. And I love that kind of philosophy from people. And I'm the same way when I play. Like if I pass to you and you're open, shoot the ball. I don't care if you miss, just shoot it. Like I get more mad if you like pass up an open shot or like you're not confident when you shoot or you're like kind of questioning yourself, So like I'd much rather just say, hey, I passed you, you're open, shoot it. I don't care if you miss, like, but shoot it. Like just have confidence and let it fly. Yeah. And that's the way I like to play. And I'm glad Damian treats his teammates the same way.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Nassir and confidence is if you remember that preseason game against Denver, like he and Michael Porter Jr. got into it and the Blazers bench was like egging Nassir on to like take it at Michael Porter Jr. And then he pulled out that like between the legs wrap around behind the back crossover and got I think an and one on Michael Porter Jr. Like the bench egging him on, like wanting him to just do something, gave him the confidence to just go at Michael Porter Jr. with an off-the-dribble move that looked good. You know what I mean? And you look at that move there, like he has confidence there, right? And he's pulling out a good move. That's the thing is like coming in as a rookie, you don't have the best ball skills, not a ton of confidence in your jumper, you need to make some form improvements on your jumper. Like, you're not going to have a lot of confidence being an off the dribble guy, right? But he's made a lot of improvements in his form, shot a lot. Dame has, mentored him and gave him that advice that you said, that, trying to breed that shooter's mentality in Nassir. And if you combine that with him just improving his ball handling and just being more confident off the dribble, dude, he could be a very, very, very good NBA player, right? Because he's athletic, has super long arms, super high motor, should end up being a very good defender in his prime, just based on what I've seen, right? Like, he has all the tools, but you combine that with a jumper and off the dribble playmaking ability, like, those types of players are the players that have blown up from being drafted like late in the first round, right? You look at like a Chris Middleton, how he's improved his ball handling and his shooting. You look at a Jimmy Butler. You look at Kawhi Leonard. You look at guys like that. I don't know. I'm not. He's not on the same. He's not on. Obviously, I'm not going to say that I expect him to become the player that those guys are, but it's hard to even like say what his ceiling is, with those physical tools and the flashes he's shown, I think the sky's the limit.
And much like Collins, you could see on the defensive end pretty early that he had a good temperament for defense. He likes playing defense. He takes it as a challenge, and that's half the battle sometimes with defenders. But just the little we saw him start this year, I think it was like 5 games or something. We saw that he can be like a good defender. Like, we put him on guys like Siakam and stuff like that, and he fared fairly well against those guys. So that gives me hope that he could be hopefully like a Harkless type with a little better jump shot and a little bit of ball handling ability. Like, that would be a great player.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'm so tempted to just hide, man. Get the yeah, I don't know. I hope he plays, man. I hope he plays. That's why I didn't want to go out and sign a wing. I don't want an Iman Shumpert playing over him. Josu, shut the hell up, dude. You know what? I'll just try and find a way to clip it out of the stream. If not, like, I'm just done. He's gone. I don't even care. So there, my chat's frozen.
Oh, yeah, and I've been on record saying that Nassir, I still don't even know if he's going to play in this. Like, or not saying he's going to come into like this bubble and like next week is going to put up like 20 and 10 and be like all defensive player, and he might not even play in this restart. Mm-hmm. We're just talking about the future, man.
All I gotta say is look at Jimmy Butler's rookie year, look at Chris Middleton his rookie year, shoot, even Draymond Green. That's not as good of a comparison, but Draymond Green his rookie year. You can look at a number of guys who are like all-star level guys right now that didn't do anything as a rookie. You look at Nikola Jokic his rookie year, and he, I think, came over a year after he got drafted, so he was he was older than Nassir his rookie year. I mean, you look at what did Trent do his rookie year, right? And then you look at Trent's second year. Now he's like a legitimately solid 3-and-D guy. You could look at a ton of look at CJ his rookie year. Look at CJ his sophomore year. And CJ was like a, 4-year college guy? 3 or 4 years? I forget. I know he got an injury, so he might have came out as a junior, but had a redshirt season. So CJ came into the league at like 21, 22 years old, and then had 2 seasons where he didn't do anything. And then the 3rd season, he showed flashes. And then the 4th season, he was most improved player at like an age of 24, right? Nassir Little's 19, right? If we're talking about projecting him for the future, we're talking about projecting him for the future, not like he's some amazing player right now. We're just looking at these flashes he's showing, and we think it bodes well for the future. And I'm excited to see what he can develop into. He might not develop into even a solid starter, or he might develop into an all-star. I think he has a very high ceiling, and that's why we wanted him when he was slipping in the draft. For our very first stream we did, that's why we were super excited that he was slipping in the draft. Like, oh my God, we could get Nassir Little. We didn't expect him to be there at 25. We expected him to get drafted like 10th to 15th range, right? And we said at the time, like, he's probably not a guy who's going to be effective for a year or two, maybe 3 years, but his long-term potential is sky high. That's what we said on draft night when he got drafted. So nothing has even changed from that.
And not many people thought he was going to be good like right away. So no
Hmm.
one's actually saying that he's going to be that he's actually a rotational player right now. I'd say he's showing some skills that probably put him a little ahead of schedule, maybe, but um, like it's still his rookie year. We're not saying he's going to come in and be a starter or something right now. Like I just don't get that line of thinking by some people. Like, or we're just talking about a player.
I just think he's trolling, trying to be
Yeah.
annoying. It's just
I
like,
think he
oh,
was trying to get banned, so all his stupid comments got taken off.
probably
You
it
gave him what he
worked.
wanted.
It worked.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of it. I don't care. I'll probably try and clip that part of the stream out. I don't know if it's you can like clip YouTube streams, but it might just be you can like clip the start and clip the end. I don't know if you
Yeah.
can clip the middle. You might be able to because I'd love to just clip the middle and take that out. I'll probably forget, but I don't care. Not a ton of people watch these back, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, I said I wasn't going to do it. I just got tired of it. Because now we're trying to have a basketball conversation. He's just trying to incite, bullshit. So, the thing is, a lot of the people that do annoy us when we get on that topic can at least transition into being able to talk about basketball. You know what I mean? So, that's why they're still around,
Jestrom Zion will not qualify for next year's Rookie of the Year. I don't know where you heard that, but it's not even a thing. Ben Simmons only did because he did not play a single game.
Julius Yeah.
If you play one game, you're on. Yeah, Julius Randle
Got injured opening night,
yeah.
only played like 20 minutes
Yeah.
his rookie year, and wasn't able to qualify for Rookie of the Year in his second year because it was his second year. You play one game, that's a year. It's a year of play. If we were to fix Terry Stotts, if we were to fire Terry Stotts, which obviously isn't going to happen, who could replace him? Appreciate you knowing enough to know that it's not going to happen because a lot of people think it's a possibility when they bring it up. Who could replace him if we did fire him? Ime Udoka, maybe. There's a bunch of different guys. Who knows? With this ownership, who knows who they would even go after? It might be a retread just because of the people you have in charge. Who knows if they even know who like Ettore Messina is. It's kind of hard to speculate.
Yeah.
Hopefully not Mark Jackson, though. Hopefully it'd be a guy like
not
Ime
Mark
Udoka or Ettore Messina. Those are kind of my top two guys that I would love. Honestly, I might be more on board the Ime train than anybody.
I want. Could both Mark Jackson and Tom Thibodeau get into the New York job so they're both off the.
Can they be co-head coaches?
Yeah.
That'd be such a New York thing to do. We're going to be ahead of the curve. We're going to start a trend where we just have an offensive and defensive coordinator, no actual head coach. Mark Jackson's the offensive coordinator. Tom Thibodeau's the defensive coordinator. Honestly, like in the next 100 years, I feel like a team at some point will try something like that. Honestly, with what the Kings have wanted to do in the past, with like having a full-time cherry picker and playing defense like 4-on-5, I feel like the Kings would try some stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Does anyone read the comments? I don't. I read some of them. Most of the time I read 2 or 3 words and stopped because they were stupid. Most people read the comments, I think. I don't know if people watching it back read the comments. I figure if there's like a bunch of drama between us and somebody in chat, I feel like people watching it back would pay attention to the comments. I don't know. But dude, Mark is a great coach. You guys are tripping. I think Mark Jackson is a lot like Terry Stotts in my opinion. He did not build up Golden State. I don't know. I hate that narrative. I so disagree with that narrative. What do you mean built up Golden State? They literally went from a 6th seed to a championship team without really changing any major players. All they did was replace Mark Jackson with Steve Kerr, right? They made such a huge jump by firing Mark Jackson and replacing him with Steve Kerr that how could you say Mark Jackson built them up? It doesn't make sense to me.
I think the year he got fired, they were the 4th or 5th seed, and they lost to the Clippers in the first round.
I thought that. I swear that was a 3-6 series. I'm curious.
I think they were the 6th seed the year they beat Denver and then
Yeah, they were that year.
upset, or didn't upset, but they showed well against San Antonio in the second round, and then the next year they lost in the first round to the Clippers. But
they were 6th seed both years.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so they were a 6th seeded team both years, and then in 2013, 2014, they were a 51 win team. Then the following season, they were a 67 win team. They went from first round exit to winning the championship. Went from 6th in the West to 1st. And the biggest change they made was they fired Mark Jackson and replaced him with Steve Kerr. It might have made moves around the edges of the roster, but the main guys were still pretty much the same. So the whole Mark Jackson built up Golden State, he's responsible for where they got, just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like saying whoever the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks was before Mike Budenholzer is the one who built them up for Mike Budenholzer. Oh, Jason Kidd. Yeah, Jason Kidd. Yeah, I completely.
There was an intern coach, but yeah.
There was an intern coach. But that's like saying Jason Kidd built up the Bucks for Mike Budenholzer. You know, Jason Kidd built up the Bucks. He's a great coach. Like, I don't understand it. I hear people make that argument a lot too. I don't get it.
I do think Jackson got kind of a raw deal, but he also had some conflicts with management and stuff. But yeah, I mean, he should get credit for possibly developing Steph Curry a little bit, maybe. But
Steph was going to be good regardless, I feel like.
He's also the one, though, that, like, because one of the big changes Kerr made was realizing that Draymond Green was a better fit than David Lee.
Yeah.
So he started playing Draymond more, whereas Jackson wasn't playing him a lot. But
part of it was not only that he played him more, just the way he utilized Draymond was completely different. Utilizing Draymond as a playmaker, which Mark Jackson didn't really seem to want to do before. So
right. I don't think Mark Few would be a great NBA coach. I think his temperament's better for college.
Temperament?
But I just think he's more suited for a college type game.
See, I think he would get along with NBA players a lot better than a lot of top level college coaches.
Yeah, I'm not saying just getting along. I'm just talking about like the whole package. I think he's better suited for like the younger players. So I guess if you had a younger team, it might work. But
I don't know, because like he's shown some ability to kind of adapt to different teams he's had, right? Because the only thing that would give me pause on Mark Few in the NBA is that his system might not translate well to the NBA. Like his system might be better built for college. You see that in college football all the time, where you have coaches whose offense and whose structure is far better suited for college than the NFL. I think that's the same way with basketball too. But he has shown some willingness to kind of change around some of the things he does based on the types of players he has on his roster, which is more than I can say for Stotts, you know. So it's like if he got to the NBA, you know, I think there would be a chance that he would adapt well. You know, so I think there would be a chance that he'd be a really good NBA coach. It's just kind of hard to project college coaches to the NBA. He's definitely a guy that I think like the players would like, but he'd also be able to get the most out of players, because that's the thing. A lot of college coaches, they either have to be like a player's coach, but then they're not like hard enough on players in order to be a player's coach, right? Or they're just too hard on guys. You know, like how Coach Calipari might be if he was in the NBA, you know. Some other guys, they're just too hard on guys. You know, Beeline kind of didn't get along with players, you know. You can be harder on college players than you can NBA players, right? So a lot of college coaches, what they work at college, they try and take it to the NBA, but they're too hard on NBA players. Not in terms of like the NBA players can't handle it, just they don't want to. You know, they don't want like a drill sergeant type of head coach in the NBA. It just usually doesn't work, so it's kind of hard to find that balance between being hard enough on players to get the most out of them, but also not being too hard where you cause issues.
Yeah, I could definitely see him doing well. I feel like Gonzaga is the perfect place for him.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think I think he's perfectly happy in Gonzaga. I don't
Yeah.
even think he'd take an NBA head coach job, to be honest. So I've never looked at him as like a possible coach option. Part of that is I wouldn't want him to leave Gonzaga. Even if it was to come coach the Blazers, I love him at Gonzaga. You know, if we got a new head coach, who knows if he'd be able to maintain the level of success that Gonzaga has built. You know, honestly, in the next 3 years,
I was so
Gonzaga
mad
might
when
be my best chance at getting a team to win a championship for my first time in my life.
this is football, but when Dennis Erickson left the Beavs to go coach our Niners, I was so mad because I knew it was going to ruin both teams. Because like he's not a good like NFL coach, and I knew that like he was probably cheating or doing something. But like Oregon State was rolling in those years too, so like I knew like both programs would suffer when that happened, and yeah, it turned out it was correct.
Yeah.
Not saying that Mark Fee would be like that. I mean, he seems a lot more competent, but
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be a very interesting coach to see how he does. You know, like it was interesting to see Brad Stevens, and Brad Stevens has worked out very, very well for Boston. Brad Stevens, I think, is a top 5 coach in the league. And there was questions with him just because he was like so young, you know, coming from the college ranks and didn't have like a huge track record of success.
I think you're seeing this in a lot of sports, except for maybe baseball, where you go after like the young hotshot guy. Who cares if he's like in his mid-30s, and just hope that you find like a diamond in the rough, and if it doesn't work out, you just fire him and move on to someone else.
And the next guy like that could, honestly, like you brought it up on a previous stream, Chris Beard, I feel like is a guy at some point who's going to end up in the NBA and be like a splash hire. And honestly, like if the Knicks went out and hired Chris Beard, I would love that hire for them. You know, it might backfire, but like who knows? You know, he's the type of guy who's kind of just a wild card as a coach. You know, instead of going after a guy who you know just sucks. You know, like Thibodeau sucks as a head coach in my opinion. Mark Jackson, like just
great coordinator.
Yeah, you know, Mark Jackson is not a good head coach in my opinion. Like, you go out after one of those guys, you have no upside with that. Like, you know, it's just going to be like what you've done the previous 5 head coaches, it seems like, you know, when they brought in Fizdale and he was a retread. And I forget who was there before. Wasn't like Mike Brown there at some point? Just guys like...
D'Antoni was there.
Yeah, you know, just guys like that. It's just like... For a team like New York, they need a coach who's never been an NBA head coach before. That's what they need, and they need a guy who's just new, who the players can relate to, who can get the most out of the players, who has just a fresh look on the game instead of a retread. So like a Chris Beard to New York, I'd love that for New York. I'd love if they hired Ime Udoka, I'd love that. They need a coach like that instead of a retread.
So Alex says Thibs led the Bulls to multiple number 1 seeds. Those are pretty good teams, though, with Rose and Luol Deng and Joakim Noah. And I mean, that was a pretty smart team, too.
Carlos Boozer was there for a bit, yeah. But the other thing is he ran those players into the ground during the regular season to help them get that first seed, and then they always fell off in the playoffs.
And who knows how injured Rose would have been throughout his career if he would have been saved a little more from himself and working so hard and playing so much.
I've said this multiple times, like, just because a team does well is not indicative of, like, how good the head coach is, right? Like, the Blazers making that Western Conference Finals run, I don't think it was indicative of Stotts being a great coach or anything. People tie results in coaching too much together. You know, there's a lot of different variables that can affect how well a team does, and there's a lot of things that a coach can do that might go overlooked, or, you know, there's a lot of mistakes a coach can make that might not end up in losses, but they're mistakes the coaches should not be making. You know, it's kind of hard to evaluate an NBA head coach, but yeah, just because the Bulls were a 1 seed for a few years, I don't think that's indicative of Tibbs being a good coach or anything.
Good night, Mike. Have a good one.
See you later.
But yeah, so Glenn says Stotts is a great coach. Stotts Stotts has some strengths. I just don't think he does enough to make adjustments and changes needed to win playoff series consistently. Um, it's basically just it worked in the regular season. It's going to either work in the playoffs or it's not. And that's not coaching, in my opinion. That's just either your players are going to win games for you or they're not. Like that's not you're not doing anything different. Whereas a lot of other teams realize that in the playoffs it's a little different, and you have to make adjustments. And you're playing the same team 7 games in a row in some cases, so you need to. Trevin, that's funny, but yeah. But Stotts definitely he should be a head coach in the NBA. I'm not saying he's like a bum and trash and shouldn't ever coach again or not. He's got some strengths. I just don't think he's the type of coach that'll take a team like the Blazers from where they're at right now to championship level.
Was this the same? I think Josu just sent me a friend request on Facebook. God. Oh my god, man. That's ridiculous. Because I swear it was the same picture he had. I can't remember. Did he have a guy wearing sunglasses and like a black hat outside? Wasn't that Josu's profile picture?
Maybe, I don't know. I can never tell on chat.
Yeah, it's hard. It's so small. Yeah, no, I don't understand how people say Stotts is a great coach. Like, Stotts is a coach who runs a ton of isolation and basic pick and roll and then runs one scheme defensively all season long. How does that equate to a great coach? You know what I mean? Like, it's such basic stuff that I feel like any NBA coach could run. It's like we have the best pick and roll player in the game. So, like, yes, it works. It results in wins. But, like, any head coach, I can just go out there and say, okay, let's isolate CJ when he's hot, and let's run a lot of Dame and Nurkic pick and roll. You know what I mean? Well, it's such basic stuff.
See, the problem is it works well, but then we become dependent on it, and then everyone's like, well, we're the number one pick and roll team in the regular season, so we have to do it in the playoffs, right? But like, no, you need to be able to switch it up and do different things when it comes down to winning time in the playoffs. And if you can only run pick and roll and don't know how to adjust it all, I will say that Stott's biggest strength is probably knowing exactly what to do and say to keep his stars happy. And he's definitely good. And this is somewhat sarcastic, but I'm being serious as well. Like, you do not get to stick around as long as he's done without, like, doing things right and being loyal to Dame and CJ and those type of players. And, so he's obviously doing stuff that makes them happy and they enjoy having him as their coach. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the coach. So, like, there is a skill in doing stuff like that. Yeah. Whether that's right to do that or to have that kind of loyalty from your players is good. You can question whether or not, like, he doesn't hold them as accountable as much because he doesn't want to ruin that loyalty for them, or that if he starts like yelling at him or holding them more accountable. And that's why I always go back to the Popovich thing. Like, Popovich chewed out Tim Duncan early on in his career, and he basically told Tim Duncan, he's like, look, if I don't hold you accountable, like, why should anyone else listen to me if I don't hold my best players accountable? And Tim Duncan's like, dude, do whatever it takes. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll listen. Like, and like, Popovich chewed him out a lot in practice and stuff like that, and it held him accountable. And that's I think that's a better way to go about it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's definitely a skill in getting people to like you and stuff. But
Glenn said, when a team is losing because they don't execute, it is dumb to change the plan. You already have worked out the best plan. It's dumb to switch a worse plan because of bad execution. The thing is, a lot of times when our basic pick and rolls isn't working, or a lot of times our isolation isn't working, isn't because of bad execution. It's because a team is defending the pick and roll right. You know what I mean? You can design a defensive scheme to neutralize the pick and roll. The pick and roll is so commonplace that a big part of defensive schematics is about designing some sort of way to stop the pick and roll. So a lot of times when our pick and roll isn't working, it's not because we're not executing, it's because the defense is doing a good job and they're prepared for it, right? The thing is, like, you don't just keep bashing your head into a wall over and over again hoping that something changes when it's not working, right? You should be able to switch off of it and utilize Dame in other ways. Utilize Dame off the wall. You look at how Steph plays off the ball and how much of a threat he is moving around. Like, you could use Dame like that. You could coach Dame up like that. And you could have that tremendous pick and roll, but then when that stops working, there should be other options that Stotts turns to in terms of the way he runs the offense that can be effective. You know, if a team just spends all their time game planning on how to stop our pick and roll, right? And then they do a good job stopping our pick and roll, we shouldn't just keep running it. We should adjust, which is one of Stott's weaknesses. We should adjust to something that works. We should adjust to something different offensively. A lot of with the isolations, a lot of times you'll have, a team with like a Kawhi Leonard. You look at the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George would probably end up matched up against Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, right? It's going to be very hard for Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum to just isolate those guys, right? It's not lack of execution. It's that there's two really good on-ball defenders. So you got to try and get Dame and CJ easier shots by using them off the ball, moving them around, running them off screens more, moving the ball, that type of stuff in order to get better looks than just trying to let CJ go at Kawhi Leonard one-on-one. If CJ ends up cold, Kawhi Leonard's a great defender. Like, it's probably not a recipe for success. So that's my whole thing is they don't. Yes, the pick and roll isolation stuff, it works. The thing is, when it stops working, Stotts does a horrible job of adjusting offensively and switching to something else that works.
Yeah. I'm just reading chat. So Glenn says Steph is better off the ball than Lillard, but that's kind of your point, right?
Yeah, like for years, if Dame is a guy who, if he does something enough, he'll get really good at it, right? He's a hard worker, right? If it was a priority for him to be good moving off the ball, and if it was a priority in Stotts' offense to use Dame well off the ball and for Dame to move and that type of stuff, Dame would be very good off the ball, in my opinion. He'd be great at moving. I think he would potentially be Steph-like in the way he moves off the ball if that was a priority under Stotts, but it hasn't been. So that's why he's not the same off-ball type of player as a Steph Curry. Like, if you really think about it, man, like, why is Steph better off the ball than Dame? Like Dame as a slasher, as a cutter, is more of a threat than Steph, because Dame is more explosive around the rim. He's a little better finisher around the rim. Like, I think Dame on the run, if he's catching the ball off a cut or something, I'd rather have that, him doing that than Steph, right? Dame has deep range like Steph. He's better from 30 feet and out than Steph is, right? Like, all the attributes Steph has, there's no reason why Damian can't do the same thing. I think he would be the same type of off-ball player if it was a priority under Stotts for the past few years. It just hasn't been, so that's why Steph is better off the ball.
And so I think we're the Nurk and Dame were the number one pick and roll combo that season we lost to the Pelicans, right? Mm-hmm. But then we get in a playoff series, and what do the Pelicans do? They have Drew Holiday guarding Dame, and they trap him every single time we set a pick on him with Anthony Davis. No matter where the pick is, Dame gets double teamed. And Drew's a pretty long point guard. Anthony Davis is one of the most lengthy, athletic players in the league. And it's really hard to get out of that double team. So, like, usually if you're good at accepting a double team, like, you want a double team to come because that means someone is open. But, like, if you can't even get out of the double team, it's really hard to, like, do anything on offense. And so Glenn's saying that was poor play by Lillard. But why do we keep running pick and roll then? Why don't we just have Dame go, like, just take Drew off the dribble and draw that double team down further closer to the hoop where we can just dish off to a center or out to the corners for a three? Why do we keep setting the pick or going to pick and roll? Yeah. And that's because, like I said, we're dependent on it, and we think it's we're the best at pick and roll, so we're going to keep doing it whether we're getting stopped or not.
The big problem with that series was you kept running pick and roll in the middle over and over again into a trap. Like Eric just said, you kept running Dame into a trap, and Dame was struggling with it. It was a great trap, and we didn't adjust. We just kept running pick and roll, which is what Glenn thinks that we should have done. We just keep running Dame into the trap, and he gets trapped to death over and over again. And what did it result in? We got swept by a 6 seed. There's so many different things we could have done that would have made it easier on Dame, that would have actually given us a chance to win that series. You could have, I know I've been kind of speaking out against isolation. You could have isolated Dame a little bit more, so just a different situation. I'd rather have Dame isolated than against a trap, but there's much better things you could have done than just isolate Dame. You could have had him run side pick and roll. It's a lot harder to trap side pick and roll, and that's why I said one of the biggest problems was we kept running pick and roll in the middle. We didn't do enough side pick and roll. Side pick and roll is pick and roll on one side of the floor. The other 3 players are on the other side of the floor. And the thing is, if they trap that pick and roll, the roll man, it's a lot harder to rotate over.
So, okay, I don't get this. So Glenn's saying that was poor play by Lillard. Pelicans had a great game plan, and Lillard never figured it out. We're not saying Lillard was can't do any wrong. He should have played better in that series as well. But then he says, you keep doing what we do best. So you're saying that we should have kept running pick and roll, but that Lillard shouldn't have done that? He should have figured it out not to do that?
How that trap is so good that even if Dame could have done the best job he possibly could have and still struggled because of how good that trap was. You got Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis, right? A lot of times we were running pick and roll near half court. Dame's dribbling to the sideline just because that's where the pick and roll is designed, and then he gets trapped by the half court line in the corner. Bro, if you can't go over and back, right? So if you end up in the corner past half court along the sideline, right, you basically have Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis guarding 2 sides of you. One side of you is the half court line. One side of you is the out of bounds line. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do there? It doesn't matter. Dame has literally no chance to succeed in that situation. That whole series, I thought Dame had basically no chance to succeed. He could have played better, but Stotts put him in a position where he had no chance to succeed because he was just getting smothered by traps by phenomenal defenders all series long. And that's my whole point. We should have switched it up. So blaming Dame for that is just...
The primary problem was runouts. Pelicans got off Lillard's bad shots? What?
It wasn't even Lillard shooting bad shots. But, what do you expect Lillard to do when he's trapped by 2 great defenders? What, honestly, do you expect Dame to do, Glenn, when he's trapped by Anthony Davis and Drew Holiday? Explain what you expect him to do in that situation.
Also, okay, once again, you're saying contradictory things. You're saying the Blazers should have kept running pick and roll because Lillard and Nurk were the greatest combination of pick and rolls that year, right? So keep doing what works. That's what you said, right? But now you're saying Lillard should have passed the ball more. That's doing something different.
How are you supposed
to? Do you want him to run pick and roll, or do you want him to get rid of the ball quicker and be off the ball more? Because that's what you're saying. But you just said he doesn't do well off the ball. So you're saying that we should do what we kept doing, but not do what we're doing, and that it's Lillard's fault that we kept doing it.
It doesn't make sense. Well, Glenn, have you ever played basketball and dealt with a trap while handling the ball off a pick and roll? I'm not trying to take a shot or anything. I'm honestly just curious if you've ever had to deal with a trap. You can't just throw the basketball through a defender, right? If you're getting trapped by Damian Lillard, or if you're Damian Lillard and you're getting trapped by Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis, and you don't have a window to pass the ball to any of your other 4 guys, what are you supposed to do? That was the situation Dame was in a lot. You got a big guard and a very lanky big in front of you, covering a lot of space in front of you, right? Dame didn't have a window to pass the ball. Dame did not have he didn't have a window to pass the ball. It wasn't as simple as, he just needed to pass better. He literally did not have a chance to pass. It's like saying your quarterback needed to complete a pass while he was halfway down to the ground in a sack. You know what I mean? Like, he's being brought down. Like, you can't just expect him to pass the ball. It's not that simple. Like, Dame was being smothered by two guys and had no space, no window to even get the ball out of the trap. And that's why he struggled, and there's nothing he could have done. It's not as simple, his job was just to pass to the open man. The thing is, a guy might be open, but if you're completely covered, then it doesn't matter if the guy is open because you don't have any way to get him the ball. And that's the thing. That's the thing people that have played a lot of basketball understand. It's not necessarily just about the guy you're trying to pass to being open. It's about having a way to deliver him the ball. And that's the problem with Dame, is he did not have a passing window to a lot of his outlets. He didn't have a passing window to Nurkic. He didn't have a passing window, you know what I mean? So what he tried to do was he tried to create a passing window by keeping his dribble alive and trying to like get past the trap a little bit. So we had a passing window out of the trap, but the thing is, Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis are so lanky and so good defensively and were allowed to be physical by the refs that they kept stealing the ball and creating turnovers. So that was the problem in that series.
And that's the whole reason why you pressure to take away passing lanes. Mm-hmm. So that's why we've been calling for pressures out of pick and roll situations on defense for years, is that that does make the passing angles harder to make. Like, you can have a roll guy wide open, but if you have two tall guys in his face and you can't pass over the top of them, then it doesn't matter if there's a guy wide open under the hoop.
So Glenn, question for you. If Dame has
real quick. So Sanjay, don't call him names or insult him or whatever. We're just having a conversation. Let's try to be nice to everyone.
Yeah. You don't take away passing lanes by trapping. What are you talking about? If you have one guy in front of you, like right here, right? You can't like pass it through there, but you can pass it there. You can pass it there, right? If you have two guys in front of you, one here and one here, you can't pass it anywhere through here, right? Where before you could pass it to the right, you could pass it to the left because you have one guy in front of you. If you have a guy here, you can't pass it anywhere. You can't pass it there because there's a guy there. You can't pass it there because there's a guy there. So they're both basically there. You can't pass it there because there's a guy there. Like, that's a trap taking away passing lanes. So I don't know what you're talking about, how traps don't take away passing lanes. Like, I've played college ball, man. We trapped to take away passing lanes. You trapped to, like, that's a common basketball thing. So I don't know what you're talking about, man.
We're live
now, actually. I just randomly reconnected. Sorry about the lag for the 6 of you still here. We'll probably log off in the next 5 minutes. 7, 9. How do people know to come back?
We're back.
Yeah, my internet died for like a good 6-7 minutes, so that was rough. But we're back.
Later, Glenn. Have a good night.
But Glenn, man,
he's going to bed.
Is Glenn? Is that what he said? Man, because I was just gonna say one thing. What I said to him in chat. All right, man. Good night. I could just say it for the rest of chat. Like, what Glenn is saying is like, having Dame and Nurkic standing on two opposite sides of a brick wall, then blaming Dame for not passing it to Nurk through the brick wall and saying that Nurk was open, so Dame should have just passed it to him. But there's a brick wall in the way, so Dame can't just pass it to him. It doesn't matter how open Nurkic is. There's this physical brick wall. It's an analogy, but there's this brick wall in between them. Let's say the brick wall is a mile wide and a mile tall. Dame can't get Nurkic the ball, even if Nurkic is open on the other side of that wall. There's a brick wall preventing Dame from passing the ball. That's basically what it was with Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis. They were basically a brick wall. Didn't matter how open Nurkic was behind it. The trap was so good. They're such good defenders that there was literally no way to like get it through the people trapping Dame. There's no way to pass it by the trap. And that's what I mean by there is no passing windows or no passing lanes. Because if the two guys trapping are far away from each other, you could maybe pass it in between them and get it past them because there's space in between them. That's a passing window, right? They were trapping so well, there's no space in between them, and the space to the sides was like towards the sideline where nobody was. So it's like, who are you supposed to pass to? There was no passing window from Dame to any of his teammates.
Their trap wasn't like our trap this year against Trae Young and Luka Doncic.
Yeah. to say the
If
least.
Dame would have saw that coming from a mile away and been able to pass it out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I don't know,
But
because he's
I
just
still
making
don't.
them.
I still don't get. He doesn't want Dame to play off the ball, but he wants Dame to pass, so he doesn't have the ball. Like it's still conflicting to me. Like don't
Yeah,
run pick and roll into the trap, get the ball out of Dame's hands, but don't let Dame play off the ball either. Like
Oh, like I heard you say the first time I didn't exactly click what you were saying. Now it clicks. Like we should run pick and roll, or no, wait, we shouldn't use
we
Dame
need to
off the
keep running
ball.
pick and roll
Yeah,
because that's what worked all season. But then don't he shouldn't do pick and roll because he needs to pass the ball before he gets to pick and roll. So that's not run pick and roll then.
yeah, we shouldn't use Dame off the ball in the playoffs, right? We should just keep running pick and roll so that Dame gets trapped, so that he has to pass the ball, so he's off the ball. Like I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. Like we could have maybe exploited it in a 4-on-3 situation if we could have gotten the ball out of the trap. But the problem was, like, that's why I understand, okay, maybe you still run it to try and get yourself in a situation where, okay, maybe Dame could somehow get it out of the trap and then you have a 4-on-3 situation, right? The problem is, by the end of game one, you could tell, right, that their trap was dialed in and just top-notch, just a top-notch trap. So you weren't just going to be able to, Dame wasn't just going to be able to get it out of that trap. So we should have adjusted and done something different, but we kept running pick and roll all series long, and that's why we got swept by a worse team than us that hadn't had any playoff success before and hasn't had any playoff success since. So Marco says, are you guys going to live stream after the scrimmage on Thursday? Not right after the scrimmage. We're going to have our usual Thursday night stream around 9:30, 9:45, 10 o'clock, sometime around then is when we'll go live, which we're just going to have our usual like live stream schedule. So the thing is the scrimmages are Thursday, Sunday, and then what are you laughing at?
I'm just wondering if our city 503 knows Trevin's trolling on Twitter or if they're really like going at it.
I want to see this. I have to check. But the scrimmages are Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna stream like we normally do. We're just going to stream like we normally do. We could maybe make that Monday stream a Sunday night stream. I don't know if you want that, though, Eric. Like, wait.
I'm down for that. Yeah, whatever.
Okay. I kind of just want to keep it Monday. Just because I was planning on working Sunday night, and that's going to make a lot more money than working Monday night just because it's still Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm always down to do post-game shows
if
you're not able to, too.
I just figured we just do our normal stream times and we can recap the scrimmage, right? It's literally just a scrimmage. It's not like I was saying earlier on stream, like it's not even going to be like a preseason, right? It's not even the same amount of quarter lengths. Who knows how many refs they even have? Like, it's 10-minute quarters and empty gym. It's like not even as it's not even at the level of a preseason game. It's just like a empty gym scrimmage, So I figured Thursday, since the game is on Thursday, later that night we'd recap the scrimmage, and then on Monday we could recap Sunday's scrimmage, and then Thursday we could recap Tuesday's scrimmage a little bit, and we could preview the normal restart.
Yeah.
So that's what I figured we'd do. If that makes sense, Marco. Sound good to you, Marco? Does that sound good to you, man? And we'll be I don't know. Should we live stream the scrimmages on Blazers Uprise, or do the post game streams for the scrimmages on Blazers Uprise, or should we do them over? Oh no, because we're gonna do them like our normal streams. I'll make maybe in my mailbag, which I gotta record. I'll probably try and record it after this. I've just been putting off. I will plug the scrimmage recaps over on this channel to hopefully bring more people over here. Once this channel like gets to the point where it can be monetized and stuff, I'll just do like once it grows and kind of gets close to the level of the other channel, then I'll just do everything over here. But it's just kind of tough right now. If that makes sense. But the actual games, we will do the post-game shows on Blazers Uprise on the main channel. So,
two people did. It's probably Mike and or CJ McMisson and Josie are probably the 2 dislikes.
Bro, I swear this might be Josie that sent me a Facebook friend request. Why the hell would he send me a Facebook friend request, man? What is this man's problem? God.
What if he sent me one?
Check if you got it from the same guy.
Am I even friends with you on Facebook?
I don't even know. I don't think so.
I think I tried adding you as a friend like 2 years ago and you never responded.
Yeah, I hardly ever use Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you updated your profile pic though.
Yeah. That picture's a lot better with like the artistic version of it compared to the tool.
Still says request. Cancel request. Same with Trevin.
Send me an. Oh wait, here I confirmed it.
Oh, okay.
From 2 years ago. It's from 2 years ago. That's crazy. I have some from like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Yeah, I just don't really mess with Facebook like that.
Trevin doesn't want to be my Facebook friend either. So it's all good. You have someone in common.
Yeah. This man really trying to expose me. Go ahead, bro. I hate when people try to make it out like, oh man, you just doing stuff for the money. Like, what are you talking about, bro? I wouldn't do this if I was doing stuff for the money, man. At this point with like I miss out on work, I lose money off of doing this. You know what I mean? Like, cause like I could be working for DoorDash and making more money than I do off of this. Like, but I still, stream twice a week, and we'll get back to the videos once the season restarts. And I'll stream in the middle of my day. I'll do a post game stream when I could be, I'll watch the Blazers and do an hour and a half post game stream. That's like 4 hours that I could make $100 in if I just drove. But no, I like doing this. It's not for the money.
We got a 3rd dislike now. Nice.
Yeah, probably people making burners. I don't even care. It doesn't even hurt the channel, especially if it's from the same IP address. So it's kind of funny when people will, because you can kind of tell people will go on burners and like try and raise the dislike, numbers, and YouTube can tell when it's from the same IP address. So anybody who does that, like, you literally just wasted your own time, and it's just funny to me. Because it's only like the, Josu, if he has a burner, would probably do that because he's mad. We're grateful for the time y'all take for the community. Appreciate it, Marco. There was some stuff that went down on stream earlier that you probably didn't see that just was absolutely ridiculous. So,
4 dislikes now. Nice.
Yeah, see, it's somebody on the same IP address, right? So all you guys in here, leave a like of support. I don't know how we have 21 viewers right now at 1:30 after we went dead for like 6 minutes. That's kind of crazy. But shout out to you guys. We have more playbacks than subscribers. It's crazy. But dang, so that one stream that I boosted the likes on with my other accounts doesn't matter. Don't matter.
What are your other accounts, Trevin?
I mean, it
5 dislikes.
It looks better.
Thanks, guys.
But like on the main channel, I care like more because people actually, it's like bigger. You know what I mean? If nobody's gonna come over here and don't watch us because 5 dislikes, and they're not gonna click on something and 5 dislikes. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just petty people wasting their time, man. Wasting their time on burners, leaving dislikes. Like, go do something productive. Tori spends more time with this job than with the mock off-season. Shake my head, get your priorities straight. Man.
True that.
I wish the mock off-season paid me like my job. We'd already be in like 2026 by now. So, I wish, man. I would rather do the mock off-season. Actually, I'd get stir crazy, but I will get it. I mean, it will probably like play out the rest of the season. Maybe after the Blazers are eliminated. I don't know. Maybe they go on a run or something. Like, just got too much going on right now. And I've almost finished that. Like, I will do it slowly. I'm not going to do it at the same pace that I wanted to. I'm just going to do it slowly. I went through some stuff the past, few days. It just had me kind of not really in the mood, if that makes sense. I'm not going to talk about it, but yeah, I just, so it will be slow, but I will do it, I will end up doing it at some point. Season might end in November for us, but that'll be the off season, so why not? We will finish this season, and maybe during the off season, the NBA off season, November, maybe we'll do an off season for 2021 in our mock off season. I don't know. You just have to wait and see. I will be a lot less busy in November, in October, and in September than I am this month and in August. So.
Thanks for the comments, Sanjay. We appreciate you listening, watching.
It. Yep.
Oh.
Are we going to simulate multiple seasons still?
Trevin, why don't we just try to get through one?
Yeah, I'm not going to think about multiple seasons. I mean, it could go for...
I have 2K22. I have 2K now. I might just simulate the season on there if you're not going to...
Yeah, I mean, part of it is like getting the specific roster that was the best for simulating and plugging everything into there and tweaking a couple of the mistakes in there and creating the spreadsheets and stuff for it, which the spreadsheets are almost done. I still got to create the formula I still got to create part of the formula, but like once I start, it will be a lot easier to like roll through the season than it is to like set this roster up and finish this formula, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like I'm not gonna say how fast it will happen. I'll get the season started at some point, and then it'll be a lot easier. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like, we'll get it. It's not like how I was 3 months ago where I didn't work and I just sat at home all day. You know what I mean? I worked 50+ hour weeks, so which some people will be like, oh, you still got a lot of time. Yeah, it's just mentally gone through a lot the past few months, so I don't know. It's just I get worn out mentally, so. And honestly, I'd rather like I need to put out more content, more video stuff too, so it's just tough. But I'll get around to it. The season is going to restart, so I'm going to try and get a couple videos out. I'm going to record this mailbag after this and hopefully edit it tonight. If not, I'll try and take maybe an hour off and finish it tomorrow.
Yeah, Marco reminded me about the Danny Green interview. He said that I think his quote was something like he didn't really care who he played, but if he was being honest, he didn't want to see the Blazers or something like that.
Yep. OKC fans would say he's an idiot and doesn't know basketball, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to face the Blazers either. You got to guard Dame, and then you got to deal with that front court. You got to guard Dame and CJ and deal with that front court. That's not fun. So hopefully we can make a run. This first game against Memphis, if we can beat them, we actually have a chance of maybe passing them up. Being 2.5 games out with 7 left, it's possible, It's possible. 4.5, if we lose and we're 4.5 games out with 7 left, it's not possible. So, pivotal game if we want to, like, maybe get the 8th seed and only have to win 1 to 2 games possibly, because people are talking about, like, oh, let's just try and get in that play-in game and be the 9th seed. There is still a chance we end up getting the 8th seed at the end of the season and are in a good position there. Because I don't think the Pelicans or the Grizzlies would beat us twice. So, anyway.
Yeah, he was saying because of the experience too, I guess. Yeah. Which is true. Made the Western Conference Finals last year.
Granted.
Got Melo.
Yeah. Granted, I do say to people like, let's get Iman Shumpert, J.R. Smith. They have finals experience. Like, I hate when people use that. There's a difference. The finals experience, I think, is overrated. In terms of, like, playing in the playoffs before, You have a lot of guys there on the Pelicans that have never played in the playoffs. Like, that's a little different compared to a team that's played in the playoffs a lot. That's more substantial than, oh, well, this guy's played in the finals before. He has finals experience. Look at what J.R. Smith's finals experience led him to do when he got that rebound off that George Hill missed free throw. He forgot the score in the finals. They were tied. He thought they were up one, right? Finals experience, and he made one of the most boneheaded mistakes with all that finals experience. People's Mix was wondering why Josu hadn't gotten banned for the stuff he was saying earlier. Why are you bringing up People's Mix?
And I'll tell you why. Josu, I mean, he's been kind of negative towards us in the past, but never to this extent. And he took it too far today. But this was his first time, whereas People's Mix gets that way. I mean, we've had conversations with him. We've banned him before. He's pleaded to come back, begged to let him back on the streams and then back into Discord and stuff like that. And we gave him multiple chances, and he still didn't change and still was, a problem. So he had, I'd say, at least 4 legitimate chances.
Yeah.
And if you want to do like smaller ones where we almost banned him several times, it's probably closer to 10. So that's like, he shouldn't be complaining about the leash we give anyone else, because we gave him every chance to make up for what he was doing or to be better.
The longest leash, bro.
Yeah.
The longest leash. Like, there was a time where I was like, man, I know you want him banned 100%, but like, I'm just gonna give him another chance. Like, we were so lenient with him and his antics, man. I don't even know if he's necessarily saying that as a complaint. Maybe he just like thought Josu. I'd banned Josu earlier in the stream. I don't know. I did ban Josu though, Trevin. But yeah, no, he can't complain, man. We gave him a million chances. I don't ever even want to talk to him again, man. Like, he burnt that bridge himself. He can't even complain, which he probably would, thinking like, oh, he's the victim and he didn't do anything wrong, right? Because that's kind of how he is. But nah, he burnt that bridge. Charles Barkley said that the Blazers can beat the Lakers. Yeah, Chris Haynes has been hyping him up too. That was a little while before you banned him. Oh. I don't know. Nothing Joseph said was bannable before. Nothing Josu said was bannable before today. Yeah, so anyway, we're gonna move on from that. The thing is, Josu had watched me a true Blazer fan. I don't know. It kind of sucks when people like that, long-time viewers, get like that, and you gotta ban them, but I ain't afraid to wield the ban hammer. Hopefully wielding the ban hammer will become fun again, because it's actually been like not fun, It's like legitimate bans. I want to give out 300-second bans for fun. Hopefully we'll get back to that in post-game streams, because that's a regular occurrence. I just I miss that, man. I miss wielding the ban hammer for fun and not for justice.
It's because Dame Dollar hasn't been in here much.
Man, we need Dollar back. We need Captain back. I guess it's probably because we're streaming late, so the post-game streams are midday. We'll see how those go. A lot of people are at home now, I feel like, in the middle of the day. So
Dame Dollar had been missing for a while, though. He hasn't been active on Discord either.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how the engagement goes when we start back up. The thing is, right now it's 142. We got 23 viewers in here somehow. How do we got 23 viewers at 142? We were going to log off after this lag spike. Like, what? Joel, you're going to call it a night. I haven't been here too long, but I got to say I appreciate how you handled that situation today, taking the time to try and educate it. Keep it up, guys. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Joel.
Appreciate it, bro. We try and educate while not completely shitting on whoever disagrees with us, because that's what a lot of the mainstream media does. So yeah, I mean, I still don't understand how Dave's supposed to pass the ball with Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis standing on his toes, but it's fine. Yeah, shout out to the 20 people watching. I'm actually kind of in amazement.
I don't know if he's talking about that or the other stuff.
I think he was talking about that. I don't know if Joel saw that stuff earlier, because we went off on somebody, Joel. Basically, because it's not going to be in chat if you watch it back. Somebody said Eric cares more about money than people's lives or something like that. So we went off on him earlier out. We definitely weren't measured in our response there. We kind of went off, but that was a different case. That was a personal attack. So obviously that's different. When it comes to basketball, we always try and be, very respectful.
Calling us bootlickers because we wanted people to wear masks.
Yeah, it was one of those types of guys. So watch Joel be like, I hate masks. He's right. And just rip. No, I'm just kidding.
I think Joel was in here earlier.
Yeah. So shout out to you, Joel. It's always nice to have new people around here, especially that know what we're talking about. Because when we started explaining that, Joel knew what we were talking about in terms of the Trav stain we're dealing with. So it's always nice to have people that come in here and just know what we're actually saying.
He said he was talking about the Joseph.
Oh, you were? You were?
Joel's been around for a while now.
Okay.
Joel, the Vanilla Gorilla Prisbilla.
The Vanilla Gorilla Prisbilla. I thought you might have been talking about the Glenn thing with the trap. I didn't know which one. That's good. Because I could see some people like seeing how we handled Josu and being like, well, those guys are those guys are being way too upset.
Fake news.
Like,
oh, Josu's still here.
Oh my God,
on a different.
I mean, I'll have fun wielding the banhammer if it's just Josu over and over again. And the thing is, I know the way he talks, so if he comes on, like, I'm gonna be able to tell it's him too. But Josu, just go away, man. If you don't think we're cool, I don't know why you'd even come back in the stream. If you don't respect us and you think we have bad morals and you don't think we're cool, I don't understand why you'd watch us. So stand by your comments, man. You're the one who said it. Stand by it, bro.
He has to try to keep watching, so hopefully someday we'll say something that will expose us.
Oh, the Under Armour Gamer 2.0. Anyway, good night, Joel. Can y'all say his name right? LOL. I don't. Josu? Josie? Josu? Rodriguez? I might have been saying Rodriguez, but it's Rodriguez. I don't care. He doesn't deserve us to say his name right. Marco, I can say your name right, bro. How about that? Marco and Joel.
Polo.
When did Javo become Wavo?
Like a week or two ago.
Why? Is that because it starts with a W and that's a dub?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I was joking.
No, that's really is why.
Javo, man, pull yourself together, bro. Literally, if I changed my name to Worry, right? Worey, Worry, that would be a huge L on my part, man. Just because I put a W in my name doesn't mean it's a dub, man. Hosui? Is that really how you say it? Hosui. It actually makes sense now I look at it. Hosui. Okay. Well, I wish I knew how to say his name before this, because now we're hopefully not going to be saying his name at all.
Marco, why didn't he correct us ever?
Yeah.
I think we ask people if we're saying their names right.
Yeah, we try to get people's names right, but it's tough. I'm just excited for no more political streams. Hopefully these streams stay basketball related, man. It should be, because we got basketball back. We got baseball back. We got basketball back.
Hey, Trevin, you never answered if our City 503 knows you're kidding.
I still haven't checked that. I gotta check that before I sign off.
How did I say your name wrong?
Didn't you say Trayvon? Wasn't that me that said Trayvon? I thought it was me.
I don't know. Trevin will find the exact.
Yeah, he'll give us a timestamp in like 5 seconds. He has all these timestamps saved in like a spreadsheet. He just has to search. Said my name wrong. Oh, there's a timestamp. Gee, I wish he did that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he does that on Twitter. Wish he would do that on here.
I'm reading through this stuff. Delete you, in my opinion. Why is the IMO part of that makes that funnier?
Yeah.
Because most, like, I saw it and I was thinking LOL. I don't know. Well, you're a Blazers fan. I'm a realistic fan, bro. You're not.
Yeah, I don't know if he knows Trevin's trolling.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
I think later on he calls him an idiot or something.
Oh, Trevin, bro. Delete you. In my opinion. I don't know why that's so funny. Trevin has like low-key humor. Trevin's like low-key funny. Tori said it right the first time he ever said it. Eric later called me Trayvon, and then Tori called me Trayvon once after it. See, Eric infected me. He brainwashed me. I blame Eric, man. It wasn't my fault, man. I always knew it was Trevin, and Eric said Trayvon, and it got stuck in my brain, and it just happens.
My bad. I think it exactly happened, kind of like what we said earlier, where we were like, it's got to be Trevin, right? And then they're like, oh, it could be Trayvon. Like, kind of joking.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to pronounce names like funny sometimes, but yeah. Trevin still isn't answering. Just like me on Facebook.
Answering to what?
He won't answer that. He won't answer if our city knows he's trolling or not.
You don't know. I care too much about my reputation. I care too much about my track record of always being right to joke about being wrong, I'm just kidding. But also, I wouldn't want people to actually think I was serious saying that type of stuff. Maybe Trevor was serious.
He said in Discord, Dame Dollar, come to the stream so Tori can ban you. That's funny.
Nah. Why would I ban Dame Dollar? Is he like a mask hater?
No, he would come in and say something about foreheads and then leave.
Bro, at this point, I invite comments about my forehead. I don't even ban anybody for that at this point.
Oh,
Things have gotten.
It's going to be open season on foreheads.
And I'll just redirect it to your lack of hair. I'll just take that shot and throw it.
I have a big forehead too. It's not like I was.
See, like my forehead your forehead goes up to your hair, right? So mine goes up to here. Yours goes like all the way around down your back. You don't got no hair, so like your forehead is like all the way around your head to your beard.
Oh, speaking of that was my mom on stream last time.
Was it?
Yeah. She said she was on till the end.
Did she understand what we were... our point of view on it? I don't know. I feel bad. Was she, like, offended?
Yeah. I think she thought it was funny.
Dang, bro. Why is she under a different color, man? Why is your mom trolling us?
I don't know.
Your mom seems awesome, though.
But anyway, she was... I saw her the other day, and she's like, wait, on stream it looks like you're completely bald, but like your hair is actually, like you actually have...
She started to believe me over you.
Yeah.
She started to believe me over her own son because she watches the stream. Oh. Yeah, they need to get more creative. If they're going to start... Diss me with something creative. I will respect a creative diss. The forehead stuff, the hairline stuff, which I know I just tossed the hairline stuff to you, but that's whenever I hear the forehead stuff, that stuff's just so recycled. We gotta get new content,
Yeah, like making fun of how you reacted to seeing a bug in your room.
Bro, okay, so that picture I shared, didn't that look weird, or was that like a normal bug?
I don't know, but it was just funny how freaked out you got. I did see the picture, yeah.
Doesn't that look weird? Like, what the hell is that?
I don't know.
Like,
But you flipped out.
bro, but did you see the body? Like, what is that body shape? The legs were like a spider, and it was flying, but made literally no noise. It was like it could fly like next to your ear, you wouldn't hear a thing. That's what I realized because it landed on my ear. I flipped out after stream, like I was gaming a little bit, and literally made me die on the inside. Yeah, it's not fun.
I had a bug like that in a hotel room in I don't know, somewhere up in middle of Washington somewhere. But
Yeah.
like,
Trevor,
yeah,
Trevor said he understood the reaction after seeing that picture. See, I was telling you guys it wasn't something that I normally see. I wasn't tripping about that. I wasn't making that up. It was weird, man. It's just the way it was moving its arms and stuff. It was like a flying spider, bro. Like, you don't
yeah.
want spiders
Marco,
to
it's on
fly.
Discord.
Yep. Both you go bald, so they don't know where your forehead ends. don't know where it ends. For them, it might look even bigger though. That's the problem. Yeah, no, at some point, I was playing it up slightly for the stream. Slightly. It was pretty genuine reaction, but I was playing it up slightly for the entertainment factor.
I loved when it was like a half an hour later, and then all of a sudden you like got up and were freaked out again.
Oh man, why would I play that up for the entertainment factor? That's something new on stream. It's a freaking flying whatever the fuck it is. Oh, it's a freaking flying spider. Like, yeah. So at some point I just hit it out of the, or no, it was on the door frame. So it was by the door. So I hit it out the door. So it's somewhere out there somewhere.
But still in the house.
But I'll go out there, so I'm good, right? Like if I walk outside and it lands on me, I'll like shepherd it outside, you know.
Not cool.
There's also like a big spider that I took out there, which was fun. Got it in a box and just threw it because I don't mess with that. Oh man, but anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Still can't believe we got 20 people here. It feels weird signing off for 20 people, but it's getting a little pretty late. So I will catch you later. The bug is out of the room, Trevin. I won that battle. It was very, very tough, very traumatic experience, but I won the battle. There ates a whole. there is a whole ecosystem outside your door. Yeah, I heard a rat in the wall the other day. That was fun, or a mouse or something. I gotta get out of here. It's like kind of a basement. Like it's half. It's like a third a basement, you know. So my window has no screen. It gets hot, so I open up the window at night. But like a raccoon could come in. That would be worse than anything. So yeah, it's not fun. That's why I'm working so hard to try and get out of here, man. I'm a little bit behind, so I probably gotta keep it up another couple weeks, depending on what I'm looking at getting. I just don't know if I should. Go ahead.
Marco, Trevin tagged you in the thread that the bug picture is on.
Is Marco's name Marco in the?
No, it's MQM or something.
Oh, it's always hard to like know what it transfers to. Need like a conversion chart or something.
It's got the same picture that he uses for here, so it's somewhat easier than some people.
Yeah.
Now we have 22 people watching.
I don't understand. But yeah, I'm stuck in between going for something that's like 1800 to like 1900, or maybe trying to get something that's like 2000 to 2100. I don't know. Because that's like a lot of money to spend on a house, but I would be able to afford it. I don't know. Should I work hard a couple extra weeks to get some that's 2000 to 2100, or should I settle for 1800 to 1900?
I'd say do whatever it takes to get your own place as soon as possible so that we have a studio.
Yeah, I mean that's the part that sucks. Like if I'm gonna rent a place for a whole year, you know, maybe longer. Like,
yeah, don't ever forget that house tweet, Marco.
What house tweet? Oh,
Cringe.
Why is he
You're,
cringe? It was
you're
funny,
creeping on
bro.
houses. I know what's funny.
I wondered how people were gonna react to it. That's why I tweeted it out.
You're like
Honestly,
stalking houses.
honestly, I just delivered to a house that was like on the waterfront in Vancouver on the Columbia River. It was so freaking nice. You could like see the other side of the river, or you had like the back wall was like all windows and stuff. And honestly, like I want a house so bad that I do see a house. I'm just like, oh, I want that house. You know, that's. I don't quite go as far as I took it in the tweet, but when you drive all day by yourself and you get bored, you entertain yourself with random stuff. So that was just part of it.
R.I.P. Blazer says to get a Zillow sponsorship for a free house.
Zillow sponsorship. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm actually on Zillow right now.
You know that I think they're starting to ban them or something because of I forgot why, but there's a lot of I don't know if it's TikTok or what, but like there's companies that pay people to like go live in a house and create content for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you could just get paid to have a house and create content.
Too bad I own the damn company, so I still gotta pay
Yeah,
myself.
I was joking.
I wish, man. Except they're all like 18, so never mind. Drive me crazy.
Zillow is Tori's version of a dating website.
Well, I'm on dating websites now again too, so I gotta get the girl combined with the house. So I gotta get the house so I can get the girl, right? That's how it works.
I know what happened. So they were like pissing off neighbors and stuff. So
Yeah, like Jake Paul, like that group, yeah.
yeah, so they were I guess they like some of the neighbors were lawyers and stuff, and they had like some loophole that they were, since they were creating content and making money off that content, that their house was technically a business. They're running a business in a like residential zone or something, and so they like got a lot of them kicked out of their house and stuff. But
That's smart, man. I would not want neighbors like that. That would drive me crazy.
I guess they would just like be outside at all hours of the night and like doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, but nah, I do get on Zillow and just dream. I look on houses that I hopefully afford in the next month. I'm definitely getting a 2-story house though, because I lived in a 1-story house for so long. I would love to have a 2-story house, my own, man. It just feels so much more like, I don't know, so much more cooler to me. I don't know, because I lived in a 1-story house for like 15 years, so I'd love to have a 2-story house. Just a nice, nice 2-story house. Size doesn't even matter, just as long as like I want the finishing on the inside to be nice. I probably want carpet. I don't know. I probably can't be too picky. But I hate the detailing of houses that is like the light colored wood. Like the old looking light colored wood. Like this looks a little nicer because it's like glossed over, but like the lighter version of that. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.